Layers. I'm prepared for hot flashes.
Guess so.
I am of that age. They come.
And we're live.
I don't even have.
Yeah. Let's call the meeting to order. Pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we have some updates on the agenda. We have the zoning administrator. Beth, is there any other update?
Cemetery Commission. And Ryan. He's got
An executive session at the end of the meeting.
regarding.
Personnel.
Would you like the attorney joined for that one?
No.
Right?
Okay, so I guess we'll do the updates so they don't have to be here. So go ahead.
Oh, that's me. Oh, wait, you want to add that?
Sorry.
Yes, me?
Go ahead.
So I guess there's two issues for zoning needing to go to the lawyer about enforcement from zoning violations. So we need the blessing, right, of the select board. One of them is regarding the repair business on Meadow Street that has not complied with removing all the unregistered and broken down vehicles.
Was he given until the end of December?
The 15, it was actually not, Noah and I gave him a 30-day extension. It was supposed to be November under his accord. And we gave him a 30-day extension. I sent an email out yesterday and I've not heard anything.
So that 30-day extension was until when?
December 15th.
15th.
And I
Okay.
sent an email and I have not heard any response.
I saw the original reply when we first met with
Right.
those guys. Do we say that it had to be done in 30 days or do we say we had to show work towards progress in 30 days? I can't remember what
It was 60 days.
60 days
60 days to clean it up.
to clean it up completely or to show progress. I just want to make sure we define what we said before we get the lawyers involved.
I
understood it to be in progress.
So-
No completion whatsoever.
So do we know if he has done anything in progress? I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
No,
Beth. What I'm
it's
trying to
fine.
figure out
I
is-
drove by there 2 days ago and there's still over 10 to 15
Yeah,
vehicles, and the conditional use permit said 0. The state says 3. The town says 1.
yeah.
But the conditional use permit that was granted to even have this said 0. So
But the question is, was it supposed to be completed by December 15th or showing progress?
If he's had 30 days, 60 days plus the 30 days.
30 days, yep. I gave it
30 days plus 30.
Right.
So 60 days, and in that time, has he communicated what he's done so far?
No. Well, it was 60 days and then I gave a 30
So he's
day.
had total of 90 days
Yeah.
and not communicated any progress and is non-responsive.
Right.
So is there a way to get him to at least give us what he's done before we put the hammer
I mean,
down?
honestly, at 90 days, I would expect to have
Right,
a
some progress.
significant dent,
Yes,
if not complete.
he's got weights and tickets to where he's gone to scrap yards with his stuff. He's removed several. And I know
Yeah.
what's that?
He needs to come
tell
here.
us.
Yeah.
Is that
Well, that's fine.
is that a letter from him?
Well, that's the one that you sent to Brett. So this is what I'm reading here. And it does say December 15th. But back to what you were saying, there was never a completion date that I recall. It was as long as attempts were being made. We know winter months with the snow, his business, the holidays, no matter what it may be. He is trying to comply. And that's fine. And as far as Beth, you've never gone down to see him. You drive by, but you don't stop to see him.
Well,
So it's hard for him to report to you.
I sent emails.
He's had 15 years, remember? Look, we're trying to get compliance. We don't want to run this guy out of business, people. So let's work. He's trying. He's working at this. If it's not fast enough, whatever we got, but we can't get a lawyer
Well,
and bust this guy up. Boy, that's just
okay,
livelihood.
let's do this.
30 days
Another
to
30
complete
days, done.
Gotta
Otherwise,
be
you're
completed.
going-
You've
that's it.
had,
got 30
had
days.
90 days so far and you haven't done at least,
I don't support it.
I don't either. Can't do it with 5 feet of snow on the ground.
Well,
No.
but
Stuff
can I
like
just
snow.
throw this out here? He made the mess.
Yeah.
That's been in a mess for many, many, many years. He made this mess. Nobody else made this. If he needs to take accountability, he has made this mess. He has been given, letters went out to everybody at the beginning of the summer. He was full well aware, known when the tax bills went out that this was an issue. There has been, I do everything by email for a reason, because I don't believe that it then becomes he says, she said. I do it by email. So there's a written record of response for the lawyer purposes. And I'm sorry, but he's the one that said, I'm going to get this taken care of in 60 days. I didn't give that deadline. He chose that deadline. Due to a family tragedy, I spoke with Noah and I was like, this isn't something that you should be dealing with during a family tragedy. So let's extend this for 30 days. I have not heard anything back. I mean, I don't, and now you're saying because it's winter, the whole point of all of this was done because we wanted it cleaned up before the snow flew, because we knew that this would be an issue. So, I mean, in this aspect, I respectfully disagree with it because, I mean, that's all we're doing is giving people, let's do more, let's give you more, let's give you more. And so nothing gets done.
He is getting it done. He's working at it.
So Beth, the original letter was sent out to everyone. There was a time to clean up your
that gave 30 days.
30 days. So there was a date from the beginning that you had 30 days to
From the
clean it up.
beginning.
That's right. So he had 30 days from the beginning, but then he had to be done, to finish, right? I
The
believe,
original letter was, yes,
Yes.
like what, August 15th or something for the entire town.
exactly.
And now we're in December. So, I mean, I'm not a select board member, y'all. I'm just asking, like, I'm trying to enforce the zoning as it's written.
Mhm.
And I'm not trying to run any business out of town. We've had businesses complying and doing the best that they can and working really hard, and people take notice. We've had businesses saying who are trying, and I hear people, oh my gosh, it looks so much nicer. So there are people that are really doing a good job at cleaning up. But when you drive down there, it doesn't look like anything's been done. So if it's been if there's that amount,
I'm surprised that he hasn't responded because I've talked with Brett a number of times to send you an email what your plan is. His plan is, I know that 5 vehicles have been picked up by Right. Right.
Doesn't matter.
And so, and also recommend he contact the other customers of the vehicles that have just left them there. They need to come and get their vehicle. So I don't know where he is on that. But I do know he has been making progress, slow, but some progress. And I commend you also that for your efforts. I understand your responsibilities and such. And I just ask to give Hedges, some additional time. There is a lot there. There's no denying. He created the mess. And it's taking him quite a while to accomplish it. So, it's your decision. The board has no decision in what you propose and actually do. That's the zoning administrator's the authority. I just ask as a board member, a customer and a citizen to give him some more time.
Excuse
We've
me.
already had 120 days, right?
Hello?
To get 5 cars out.
Hi,
Right, exactly. He's only taking care of 5 cars from August 15th.
And now we're going into winter.
Well, we don't
I have a
know.
right to say, but
We don't
We're headed-
know.
Because he's not
Correct.
responding and communicating
Joel, what is
with the person who it needs to be communicated with.
there is one other option. He is free to request to appeal the decision of the zoning administrator to the Development and Review Board. He can pay the fee to do that, and the Development Review Board can handle this situation and make the decision. But he has to be willing to pay the fee, which is now what, $250?
$250?
50, yeah.
What's the decision gonna be made that he still has to remove the cars and he's paying $250 for them to tell him that again?
Because he's still in violation, whether he gets the.
Right, so why would he wanna do the DRB? And pay $250 and they're gonna say, you gotta remove the cars anyway. We're saying it now.
The thing is, if we-
You don't know what the DRB is going to decide.
If
Yeah.
I mean, and I get, it's winter, I get that, I understand it. But if he said he'd have it cleaned up in 60 days, I understand there was something that happened. And I know in situations that's not your priority, but you should have already made, I look around and I see that other people made huge progress in less than 30 days. I can think of, there was a house on my street that literally had progress made within days.
I just feel like it's not fair to those
Yeah.
people. They did it in 30 days like they were asked, and now we're at
It's being inconsistent. Inconsistency is key.
The volume of material that is there is.
What percentage has he removed?
Well, we don't know.
I don't know.
He said
Because
5
he's
cars.
not-
There's questions that you can't be answered.
Because he's not responding.
Sure.
That's part of the
Yeah,
problem. That's
right.
part of how we got here.
I
So-
did contact, when all of this, to clean up the town, I contacted the Wright brothers. And I even made a flyer, and they were more than thrilled to come here for free and remove whatever, because they get the scrap metal, right? And I spoke, I'm just saying, I spoke with the owners of Wright Brothers, because I asked them if it'd be okay if I put their name on a flyer.
And you would,
And they were like, please do. And they said that they would come here and remove whatever needed to be removed
so they
from
would
this town.
remove it for free
Free.
and they would get the money. So the owner
Right.
wouldn't get the money, but they'd get rid of whatever it was.
That's
Or get rid of all the junk. So that was, I was like, this is a win-win. So, I mean, yes, if you want to get the money, but to only remove 5 cars, you could have called Wright Brothers. They would have come here every day. And if you had 20 cars in 20 days, it would have been cleaned up. So, that's just, I've put that out for everybody in this town.
But people that run businesses, maybe they don't want other companies on their property for a liability issue.
Well,
And I get it, I get it.
I
There's
get it.
also titling rules and stuff that you can and can't
I know, I'm
crush
just
and
saying,
stuff
I'm
like
not-
that.
I'm-
Sure.
And I believe he
But-
was paying $100 to remove a car
Do we,
from the company. And I-
Wrights told me for free.
Yeah, well, what they told you, and I'll see Brett, and I'll try and get the receipts. That's what he paid, $100.
What I would suggest
The zoning administrator.
is
That's how he communicates with the town.
he needs 15 days to
Comply.
prove that he's made a concerted effort. We need to define what a concerted effort is. And move forward from there. I mean, if he's not communicating, that's a problem. If he's not making measurable progress each week, 2%, 10%, whatever, like to remove a small percentage in that amount of time is not concerted effort. You've got customers who owe you money, put them in collections. You know, there's a number of ways that you can deal with situations, and not responding to us is not acceptable.
And if these cars don't belong to him and it's his customers, or they've been sitting there, why doesn't he call these people and tell them to pick up their car?
What he does with
Because-
his business his concerns, what we do with our rules and enforce our rules equally to everybody, regardless of who they are, is our responsibility.
Beth, you mentioned the lawyer up front. What was the purpose of the lawyer? What was your intent?
For well, because we talked about at the planning commission that you need your blessing, right?
Right.
Right,
The
because it
lawyer's
says,
blessing or
no,
our
you
blessing?
select
Planning
board.
board.
To utilize the
The-
attorney,
Huh?
To
to
you,
utilize the attorney, the
Right.
zoning administrator has to go before.
So you're just asking to utilize the lawyer, but what will be the request from the lawyer? In other words, what do you want to tell him to do or
It-
her?
That will be, the notice of violation will be sent. So it has to be that the lawyer, right? Am I correct in that the notice of violation comes from the lawyer?
Okay,
And then,
Well, no, the notice of violation.
well, it
should
comes
come
from me.
you.
Yeah.
Right,
right,
but the lawyer will take that and send a letter to the property owner explaining to the property owner what the situation is, and if he doesn't do what is needed, the next step will be in court. The lawyer will write a threatening letter.
okay, so what's the difference between the lawyer or us saying the same thing? That's what it comes down. I know the lawyer legalizes it,
right.
but is the lawyer gonna say you have 30 days to comply, like we're kind of talking about? Or is the lawyer gonna say it's not done yet, you're being charged? I guess that's what I'm
I
at.
don't believe you can move to
I think the
fine without
lawyers-
having the legal.
I think the lawyer is going to take a look at it and write this letter, and I can tell you there's a difference between what we can send and what a lawyer send when somebody gets a letter certified.
Sure.
And it's a threatening letter. The court action is the next step.
Right.
It's the next step that is expected, but I think that if before we do that, I think that the offer to make this guy appeal the decision to the DRB, if the DRB overrules the zoning administrator, you know, the court action might be pointless at this, so.
So it sounds like Brett has a couple of options, right? One is, of course, communicate with the town. The other is he could pay the permit fee and go to the DRB. That might change some things, right? And also to comply. I don't think we're asking anything unreasonable.
I'm still concerned about if they'd say it's fine, now we still have a place with, is a bunch of cars.
Unless the lawyer puts something on it. You know what I'm saying? Unless the lawyer at that point says,
After
Well,
this point, you're gonna get fined by day.
right, that's.
And Laura pays
The town pays.
Town.
for it.
yes.
That's why,
something he
That's-
created.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, but what the thing is if he goes to the zoning and they overrule, now he still has a place that's not legal, really,
Right.
and it's not fair to all the other places that cleaned up their stuff. And he's still,
That's
well,
on the,
I paid
that's on the
$250.
DRB to decide
It's like I
if he
got,
appeals.
I'll pay $250 and I might be able to keep all my cars there.
well, it was sent to the Department of Environmental
true, too.
Conservation. The DEC came out and explained that the state rule is 3 cars. Anything over 3 cars, according to the DEC, is an unauthorized junkyard. So the state has been notified. The state did go out there.
Okay.
No, they didn't find any violations.
That's for him.
It was
Yeah,
environmental.
but that's fine, but I'm
They
just letting
came out to
everybody
do an
know.
environmental assessment, not to
Right.
state
And
how
that
many
was no need
vehicles
for
he
that.
had
This-
on the property.
The state says that they say that you can have 3 vehicles.
What did the environmental office say? Because I understood that they came in, did an assessment, he's not in any violation of environmental law. So if
And why
they
was
said
he called?
anything else, then I'd like to see that document.
I have no idea. He does not communicate. I sent the report to the DEC. They explained to me that the law states that they allow 3 unregistered vehicles. Anything more than that, they do not allow.
And there's a difference between you have an EPA violation or
Mhm.
VEPA,
Of course.
VEPA violation for potential spills and the junkyard laws. in the
Right,
state.
the
Right.
unauthorized
There's two
junkyard.
different sets of laws.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, if there's no oil spills or anything, then he's environmentally fine, but.
Right. This was about the unauthorized junkyard,
Right.
salvage yard, sorry, not junkyard, they're called salvage yard.
At what point do fines come into the mix?
Much later.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. After the lawyer, after the court,
The court will determine, I can't imagine the court setting a fine unless he would ignore the court's decision. At that point, I think the court might be well inclined to set a fine. And it would be the $100 a day fine.
is there any specification in the laws that give him a minimum amount of time to respond to the initial letter? And then the
I think-
subsequent attorney's letter?
My understanding would be that the court would look at this. It's why I've, talked to Beth, and we have to, if we end up in court, they will look at us as we should have given him every reasonable chance to comply.
Yeah.
And I think we've done that really.
It's not fast enough, right? Is that what the argument is? Just not
Yeah, I
fast
mean,
enough.
Yeah.
He's complying,
it's,
just not at our speed.
But we
Beth
don't know, we
talked-
don't know how much he's complying, Mike. That's the point.
He has
Like,
not
unless he's
communicated that
here-
He
properly.
might be talking to you, but he's not talking to us, so we have no idea.
He's not talking to the
And-
proper person.
He really needs to talk to her.
Yeah, that's the person who he needs to talk to.
I think
And-
face to face,
Yeah.
followed up by an email, is the way to go. But that's your decision.
I just like everything done in print because
True.
Yeah,
That's why I said face to face, followed up by an email.
Yeah,
well,
but you can
print.
follow up, but that you can.
I like everything in print.
What's wrong with, I didn't say you can't do it
No,
in
I know you
print.
did.
I get that.
Face to face goes a hell of a long way in setting a resolution followed by an email, validating what was said, who said, when, and such. That way, it is a document, you have a document in writing that says, what was talked about. But that face to face, there was a meeting a number of months ago that you refused to go to his property.
I
meeting
don't
face to
feel
face.
comfortable. I mean,
Do you
sorry,
feel threatened?
I somewhat do feel threatened by
What has
Brett.
happened that caused you to fear harm
I
or
don't,
threatened by Brett?
because
I don't
no,
think
yeah,
that should be
that's-
discussed
yeah,
here
that's
right.
in a recording.
Right.
Why
It needs to
not?
Be discussed
Because
in an
that's the
executive
first- that's-
section.
Yeah, that's
What do you mean
personal.
it's person? But this is, you're asking me to
This
use
is a
our lawyers
business,
here.
this is a
Yeah.
business where,
If there,
Yeah,
if
but-
there's an event that triggers somebody's
Right.
threat, it should be discussed. She's our personnel. If something was threatening to her, we should be discussing that in executive session.
Right, but then we need a complaint from you. That's what I'd like to see, a complaint, a written complaint. You want anything in writing? I need a written complaint from you that you're threatened.
you know
in
what,
court.
Mike, I
Yes.
think that you seriously, and I'm gonna say this
Mm-hmm.
because I think that you as a select board member is too close and you should recuse yourself from any of this conversation.
okay, I will repeat what Mike said.
I'm just saying.
I
you should
want
recuse
I would
yourself
like to
then.
see, the board like to see a complaint from you that you fear whatever bodily harm or
I
whatever
don't-
from Brett.
I do not feel comfortable going there alone. And I have that
Oh,
right
okay.
as a person, as a woman, as a human being to tell you
Understood.
that I
Okay.
do not feel comfortable
So
going there
you-
alone.
You
And
you clarified alone. Okay.
Right? I don't. I
you
would
said-
gladly
said-
go there with Noah.
Set an appointment and I'll volunteer to go with.
I would prefer
As
to
a
go
witness.
with Noah.
That's fine with me.
I would
I'm happy
prefer it to
to-
be with Noah. I think that if that is the case, then the town manager and I, as the town manager, that we would go.
Why is the town manager? Why is he got to go? What's the town?
That's the
manager?
proper chain of
The
command.
DRB. Get somebody from the DRB instead of the town manager.
Why is that?
Why does it matter?
Need somebody to go with.
Right.
I feel comfortable going with Noah. It's not, I'm not saying I don't feel comfortable
Right.
going with Pete Peterson either.
He doesn't.
Yeah,
It doesn't
okay,
really
fine.
matter, but I think Noah is the town manager and this is something that's
Do with the town.
his responsibility as well as being the authority as the town manager.
Okay.
Okay. So
My question is what do we determine, how do we determine what a concerted effort is? To me,
Not our decision,
okay,
her decision.
Okay.
DRB's. Our decision is allowing her to go to the attorney.
Well, then, I'm with that.
all right then.
Okay,
I'm against it. The
Well,
town.
you gotta.
okay, I will make a motion to proceed to legal with this case.
Any second?
Hold on
Time
just
out.
a second.
Time
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
Even if you second, you can like.
Yeah, but time out. I want to make sure. I thought what we discussed is there was a series of steps before we're going to the lawyer. I thought we were discussing here, the reason you wanted to go with the town manager was to see the amount of work that has been done. Then the DRB was going to get involved with a lawyer following that. So I want to make sure whatever motion we make, I don't want the lawyer to be upfront. I want the lawyer to get involved at the right place and time
So
to support what the zoning administrator is trying to do. So don't get me wrong here. I just want to make sure we do the right lockstep procedures, the right steps.
and your workflow is good. Just the DRB is an option for the individual in question.
He would have to trigger that. We don't trigger that.
So if he
Would have
chooses
to
not
pay.
to do that, does it go?
I just
like, it
skip that.
step.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
gonna be explained to him.
that's,
Yeah.
okay, so we just need to make sure that this is well explained, because everything we talk about is communication. And it can get-
Should someone offer him that option? Or are you gonna
That's,
depend on?
they were
him to
just
do
saying
that?
is
That's
that
what-
Noah's going to do
Noah's
that.
gonna do that.
Right.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
What I'll do is I'll most likely put it in writing first.
yeah,
Of course, send that to the board and then also, share that with Brett
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
And then if he has any questions, well, you answer it while we're there.
okay.
I
So
apologize.
are we okay with that in terms of the steps?
Absolutely. If that's the
Does not
study,
need- does not need a motion, correct?
right.
I don't think we
Okay.
need a motion for that. I just think
Okay,
there's a space and
Okay,
time where
so
we activate the lawyer.
in a
Right
couple
now, it's not it.
weeks, we'll have something.
And I'm making the determination of what I believe is a effort.
Yes, well, I think the lawyer needs to tell us, right? Isn't that what we decided? That the lawyer needs to tell us what the amount of determination, the percentage of work?
I mean,
or the
No,
DRB?
no.
Well,
Well,
no.
I wonder if that would be
I
negotiated.
don't think he'll go that far.
Yeah,
He,
Okay.
he'll look at the case and the notice of violation that Beth has issued
right.
and advise us whether it's a strong case or not and ask for any clarifications. And then if he's satisfied, he'll write the letter to the person. And I would hope that what is typical, once somebody gets a letter from the attorney, the way the attorneys write them, they usually comply.
we're not getting
can-
to that point.
I can tell you that
Yeah,
junk cars, people will come pick them up for nothing.
So, but
There's
Beth
an
needs
ad
to
in the paper
define-
now for junk cars. I'll come pick them up for free.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what, right, so
Yeah.
I don't know
But
where his $100 came from, but
Beth needs to, because he's probably storing them or something like that. But that's speculation. But Beth needs to decide what concerted effort is, and I would document that somewhere and use that for all future. It's not already
You do
defined.
have pictures of the before when it first, so you will kind of see what's been done. You'll be able to see,
Correct.
right? Okay,
And any new additions or anything like that.
okay, anything more
Before we
on
go any
this?
further, anybody taking minutes? We recording this?
Of
Oh,
course.
I didn't know. I didn't.
Minutes are taken.
Okay, thank you.
Full, but they're
Okay.
taken.
Thank you.
Okay, okay, are we done with this? Okay, so now we have another one.
Yes, we have another one. We,
It's all right.
that's inconsistent. We have one. I have two more. Well, the other one is a health officer, so it's a very different situation. Out at Richard Fortin's. He has a building and two Connex containers. He had three at one point. He moved one. He's refused all communication. I've sent multiple, I think Teresa still has them, letters, certified, regarding the permitting, the permits. He did apply for a permit. They were denied because it doesn't meet the setbacks for the Connex containers, plus the dimensions for a new thing that he built was not correct. So he's not complied with any, and this has been going on since last February, or no, even before
Right.
Joel got done.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, even before Joel got done. So just,
And he has threatened you.
and he threatened me. I have the letters for that, like full on threatened me. Said I am not allowed to step foot on his property, that I will pay dearly. I have the threatening letters. And that nobody is allowed to step foot on his property. But he did remove one red Connex container tractor box. But one of them you can kind of see has a roof lean-to kind of built on there. And then we don't know about the new building that he built
Right.
as well, that's not permitted.
Okay.
So I've been trying with that one.
Now, when you say refuse communication,
Well, meaning like there is no, like it will not sign for any of the certified letters
okay, all right, got it.
that I've sent for the notice of violations.
So,
Those letters were returned?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
and a lawyer would communicate with him certified letter?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is
You've
it-
been served.
Well, I mean.
Yeah, I don't know.
But if he doesn't do anything with that one, well, now
then we
it's a
have a step
lawyer, so
forward.
now it gets become a bigger issue. Well,
Yeah,
Say, hey, are you so-and-so? Here you go, you've been served.
Yeah.
it's just those Connex boxes are not, which is, put the right dimensions for your building. That's it. And if they meet setbacks, it wouldn't be a big deal. But the Connex boxes do not meet setbacks according to
Yeah.
Google Maps and stuff. Like just move them.
I guess, Beth, once they start like putting a lean-to on them, then it
Yeah.
does have to go by the zoning.
Yes.
But just a Connex box itself doesn't need any, and because Mark Valancourt came to the house, but they ain't told me so, because they did his review up to his,
They do require.
They just had that
Buy a permit, but
conversation.
you don't get taxed on it.
Yeah.
no, well,
Because you have to make sure that it meets the setbacks. So you
It's
can't
still
just put one of
structured.
those things anywheres on your property. So that's why you need the permit, but you do not get taxed on it. That's right.
is that what it is?
Yeah.
Right.
And Mark talked to me about that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah.
But Mark met the setbacks. That was the difference. Mark met. the
Okay, because we
setbacks.
didn't talk about, okay.
Yeah.
It's all about setbacks.
I
If,
see.
if he met the setbacks, it wouldn't be an issue,
Okay.
right? It
Okay.
wouldn't even,
That's right.
Same issue we have with Dollar General.
it wouldn't even be an issue, but you're right there on those road and,
Got it.
so if he pulled them back, no problem. You would get the permits, everything would be great. You put the right dimensions, fine, like,
And he's also in violation on not getting a permit for the building he built.
right. He
Right.
sent one in, but it wasn't the proper dimensions. I don't know why. I don't
Does the DRB get involved as far as
know.
how did they who determined they were incorrect dimensions?
We looked on Google Earth, which is, Joel will attest to that. It's pretty darn accurate.
It's accurate.
And they weren't the right dimensions in what he said. And again, with the Connex or the tractor box, just move them back,
No, yeah, that's
just.
no question. It's-
Right, bebop them back off the road, so.
I think if there would be a communication, there
Yeah.
actually wouldn't be a problem. You probably just move the Connex box.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, I gotta update the permit. Sure, no problem.
Right, it would have been no problem.
And it's the same issue with the other one. It's like
It's a choice to be
little
combative.
communication.
Yeah.
Make it a lot easier.
And I-
Be-
I tried, and very nicely, I was not combative in any way, just like moving back, like not a big deal, like,
Is
you
it,
know.
Beth, would it be feasible to do the same thing? Go there with Noah?
No, he just said he won't allow us
Oh,
on the
just-
property.
Yeah.
Won't even
In
threaten
writing.
anybody up
We
there.
won't let anybody, yeah.
All right.
But no, like I said, just move them back, like meet your setbacks, you're fine, like it's okay to have those, it's just, you
Well, I
gotta,
think it's beyond that. After, the numerous attempts to communicate with him, his refusal to sign for the certified letters. I think we're at a point to allow Beth to go to the attorney
On this one, yeah.
on this one.
If you're not answering the registered mail, that's telling you right there.
And we've got something in writing threatening a town official. So,
And the lawyer has that. If I remember right?
I
I
think,
think so.
yes,
He does.
Noah sent that to the
Yep.
lawyer as well.
Okay, so we need a motion for that.
I motion to allow Noah to coordinate with Beth Redundy to contact the attorney in reference to Richard Fortin's zoning violations.
Second the motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, Beth.
Oh, geez. Okay, now this one's, we're gonna step off the zoning and we're gonna go to the health officer. So this is a little different because I'm the town health officer as well. The building,
Beehive.
not the beehive, that's a whole nother
Oh, okay.
situation.
The one that's got it.
The one that's
Oh,
got it.
that's
So,
right.
Next to it?
yeah, the one on Railroad Street.
Across from the fire department?
Yes,
Yes.
so, I don't,
What are you talking about?
my brain's fogged with
Yep.
the beehive is 109, I'm
145.
not quite sure.
145 Railroad.
Is it 145? It
It's,
might be.
It's,
I should have wrote that down, sorry.
What's his name?
Yeah, Frank,
Frank Maloney.
yes.
Yeah.
I have been sending multiple letters and phone calls and discussions with Mr. Maloney regarding that. That is a health violation. I tried to go the zoning route, tried to go the health route. I finally issued a health order. So I am here tonight asking the select board, you're gonna have to motion, do something to board that up or tear it down and bill him.
You're asking us to do it.
I'm asking you because I did speak to him on a couple of occasions and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna either tear it down or I was gonna sell it. He was gonna get it all taken care of this summer.
Mhm.
And so, and all of you drive by there, you all know, like, it's a huge fire hazard, health violation. I mean, pests, rodents, kids, I don't, so I sent I did a emergency health order a few weeks ago. I still have not heard anything. So I'm asking the select board, I think that's how it's done as the health, as I've gone through like the THO, that you would ask your select board to board it up.
To condemn it essentially.
Well, no, I can condemn that, but then you ask from where I gather from the other THOs, that you ask your select board, they're the ones that go and hire somebody or do
And
whatever.
we can bill them back.
And then you bill them back.
I remember.
Yes, that's how it's done. So as you ask your select board to then go ahead and pay for or hire somebody to do whatever it is. And
And if he doesn't pay, it goes on his tax bill. Is that,
that's on you guys. I don't know.
is that how that?
Do you know if he still owns that building?
He told me he did,
Oh, I am just.
that he wanted to sell it.
Yeah, and it was gonna go to, David. Ferdinand.
You're right, that's right.
And I asked him multiple times,
And
I'm
that
like,
property just went and got sold, so that's a done deal. And I'm just wondering if that went with it, that's all. But still, we'd have to go through the same routine, what you're talking,
Right.
correct?
Well, if it was just sold to
Teresa
someone
would've
else,
had
now
records
we'd
of
have,
it.
right. And if it was
If
just
that
sold,
building,
then.
if that building transferred, Teresa would have been contacted
That's
to
right.
do the
Yeah.
transfer.
right.
Well, anyways, I'm not sure if it did, but it was talk about that. They
I
wanted
remember
to-
him wanting to.
wanting
Yeah,
to
he
do
told me
so.
that. He said he was hoping to either sell it or tear it down this summer. That's what his intentions were. I was like, perfect, great, get
Oh,
it
somebody-
done.
Right.
You know, and I was like, we need to have it done by the and like I said, I think I spoke to him, I have it written down, maybe in mid-June or something, and like totally, he was like, gonna get it done. I was like, awesome. And I was like, okay, get it done by the end of this summer. And that was this thing. He was either gonna tear it down or sell it. And I was like, perfect. And so now here we are.
He does, is some of it boarded up or is just looks like?
Just I was looking at it, well, because I drive by it every day.
It's 90% open.
Yeah, I know, but like the front,
That's
the porch is boarded up.
Okay.
But if you, the whole side is, and that's what I don't know, like, as I was saying, I'm not a builder, y'all, a lot of you here are builders. Like, if you looked at that, I mean, what's boarding up gonna do? Does the town say, we're just
It
gonna,
addresses some vagrancy issues.
right, but are you gonna say knock it down? I don't know. Wait,
I don't know.
Decide.
What-
Can you do
Whole
that?
nother process.
Now, what is the town's
Go ahead.
process?
Hi, the town has never boarded up on its own.
Yeah.
This is another go to the attorney situation in my mind, to have the attorney write a letter to the property owner or threatening letter that the next step will be in court and tell him he's got to board that place up if they won't cooperate with us at this point.
Pending validation that no sales happened in the
Right.
last.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not-
Finding
it's not
out
our
who owns the
responsibility.
building.
Right,
Find out who we write the letter to. Yeah.
Right.
because this is a wonky one being a health order as opposed to being a zoning. Like,
Say it's
a
a
health
health order.
order is different. Like, a health order versus a zoning is a kind of a different
Yeah.
situation.
Can we do a conditional motion?
I would. I'll
Pending
make a
validation?
Motion
Right.
to contact the lawyer regarding the health order on 145 Railroad Street, pending validation of
Ownership.
sale in the last 90 days.
Anybody second that?
I'll second.
Okay.
Was that good enough as a motion? I'll second.
I think so. I was very, yeah.
Okay, good.
Whose property?
Frank Maloney.
Brian Malone.
Frank.
I think unless they got that, it happened.
we'll
in that
know.
transaction.
We'll find out if it's
Yeah.
we'll find out if it's transferred in the last,
Yeah.
in which case I would, if we find out that it transfers, gotta go to the new home.
Right.
I
Oh,
think it would have to be
absolutely.
really
Start all
recent
over
because
again.
I just checked our camera system and it doesn't show any sales there.
So
I just ran. that
what is
the
our,
other day.
what is the motion supposed to be? What do we say?
You're gonna validate with Teresa. that
Right.
There's no sale in file in the last 9 days and then go to legal.
Okay,
We're giving you authority to go to legal,
okay.
but first you have to go to Teresa.
Yeah.
Just check to see if.
Are we ready to vote? Are we all clear so we can vote on this thing?
So we all,
What are you-
we gotta,
Hold on, because I'm sorry, because I'm just trying to make sure that I understand this, because this is like, I don't know if the health orders have to go to legal. Like, this is a different situation because it's a health order, does
Where
it?
you would want to involve an attorney anyway.
I think
Okay, all right.
I think we
Thank
want
you.
to find out if it's us or if it's, because it's a gray area.
Okay,
And
just checking.
find out the THO has the authority, then you know what, that's.
They will hire you.
Legal.
I'm just making sure I'm clear so I understand. We just need to have something, it boarded, it is.
Before you go on anybody's property, you want to make sure that you're on really solid ground.
Right,
Get
right.
an attorney's opinion on this for sure.
okay.
So
But
we're
we
gonna
wouldn't
vote
go
on
on
this.
property. Okay, so we got a motion, we got a first,
Yeah,
I mean, a second,
Second.
Got a
we got a
second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
That's it.
Anything
I've had enough.
Thank you, Beth.
Too much for one human being.
Okay, thank you.
We appreciate what you're doing.
Okay, so now we have, cemetery?
Last meeting, I heard that there was some question about cemetery trust fund, or if you want to call it that. I know a little bit about it and I found out about it last year. I did speak to Teresa about it, and how she told me it works, it renews every October, and that's when, if you wanted to pull from it, you could without any violation. And then it goes right back into an active trust fund. So I know it's in our tax booklet on the amount that's in there. And I'm not even sure what that number is, but with that said, we have a budget of the cemetery of $5,000 and it sucked it up pretty bad last year when I got Heritage to straighten out some stones, cornerstones. He did great work, but wow, that sucked it up pretty quick. So I'd like to maybe look at getting some new gates possibly for the cemetery and doing some upgrading myself on the small parts of it.
Could you use some of this? I mean, a gate, not the whole fence, just the.
No,
gate.
not, I mean, that's,
Oh, just.
I mean, it's hot iron. It's like still good, just needs straightened out.
And that 5,000, I wasn't here last time because I was recovering from that surgery. I remember at one point there was a smaller amount in there and it had to be increased due to the number of stones that need to be fixed, as well as an increase for the costs of mowing. Just mowing's an insane amount of money for you
Yeah,
guys.
I think it was $1,000 for my time.
Yeah, there's a 5,000 and a 1,000, John, that
Yeah.
it's in the budget. So I guess the question I have, John, is if we have no fees in October, in other words, if we draw in October based on the summary that I read here, if it's a long-term strategy for the gate and a long-term strategy for the stones,
Mhm.
if the town does $5,000 to cover the mowing, okay, and still, if we can pull the funds operationally from the trust fund to fix up the cemetery versus using the $5,000,
Mhm.
is that a possibility? In other words, keep giving into that trust fund or whatever it is that we do, but instead of pulling from the $5,000, because you just said the cornerstones alone was $5,000.
Yeah.
But any cleanup that we have, any of the gates, any of the fences, maybe we can use this hundred.
That's exactly what I said, right, yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that. When did you say that?
Well, when I was asking about the gate, I said, is it the gate or the fence? And that's it. And I had asked if we could use that, but that's okay.
But I guess my point is save the $5,000 for the mowing.
Yeah.
Because I just had to do
I
it for
agree.
the Catholic cemetery, and then long-term strategy, use
Right,
the.
pull it out of.
Pull
the-
it out by
Right,
October so
for,
that we don't have fees.
right,
I guess it would just take how much you want to do in a year so that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and is it?
And I would look for matching
Is it-
grants
Is it
because
from the fund,
Yeah.
from
Right.
the trust fund, or would it be from one of these investment, the CDs, the stocks?
That can probably answer
That's the
that.
trust fund. The trust fund
that
is
is the trust fund is
comprised of.
comprised of those.
Yeah, it's all in the.
I mean,
Yeah, okay.
Maybe I'm crazy. But I mean, the thing is when you start dilapidating funds, they go away much quicker than they bring in new. And I know there's a lot of work to be done, including setting stones, things like that. I would be cautious, and I understand, I would be cautious about wiping that out to deal with the maintenance and see if there's other methods to do it. I mean, $5,000 doesn't go far.
well, I think we had just said, look for grants.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pull all, you're
I
gonna
wouldn't
do
pull it
so
all.
many.
No, absolutely not.
Some,
Yeah,
But the dividends,
And-
can't they use the dividends?
projected annually is $2,200 to $4,400.
Yeah, I would pull off your interest.
Well, that would be the first
right,
choice.
that's what I'm saying, right, and,
So it doesn't affect the
right,
Yes.
bottom line balance.
Right.
But we're still gonna
And-
give you
and
guys
no,
the
and
5,000.
Yes.
Yes, oh, yeah.
2,200, you say, well, we're gonna take 2,200, we're gonna
No.
fix the stones? No?
That's not, it's only earning what you're getting for interest, those dollar amounts, when you look at the annual report. So there are no real dividends. It just reinvests in stock in this 2 stock funds. There is no real dividend payout on that. And so you basically have $40 in interest that's coming in on that trust fund every year.
We're just going by this piece of paper that was handed to us, Mike, and on the last page, it says the projected annual dividends is $2,200 to $4,400.
What I gathered from.
So that's the only reason we mentioned that. So wherever the two shall meet, I think either way, pulling out $2,000 a year from 118,000
Yep.
is not a bad thing, as long as we have a long-term strategy to,
Yeah.
to continue on. I guess that's what I was trying to say, Mike.
Oh, I just wanted me to think that was, because I'm looking and I'm like, there's like $40 in interest.
Yeah.
The interest.
So I don't know where this came from, but that's what we're going from here.
Might be the statement that comes.
Yeah.
I know that the Putnam Fund and the Wellington Fund and the Consolidated Gas, those just reinvest. They buy their own stock back,
Right.
and they've lost value through the years a lot. Because I was an auditor long before I was ever on the select board, and so I've watched it through the years just kind of go. So I don't see that there's really a downside to pulling a couple thousand out because it's not earning much anyway.
Right, okay.
Okay.
So
Do
we
we,
get the 5,000, provided the town, approves the budget,
right,
to be used towards the
Mowing.
maintenance, the mowing and such. And if we can get a plan, on what needs to be done as far
For the
as
summer.
gates and stones and fencing, I guess a total estimate, because we know that every 6 months that could change. And say have a 5-year or short-term and a long-term plan of how we'll fix those things. Okay,
When do you want that by from the cemetery commission? Just so it's clear.
yeah, how long do you think it would take?
Poor John.
Yeah, what I understand the commission is just John.
okay, so
Pretty
it would
much.
probably, you can't, because he's really not gonna, in 5 years from now, something else could go, so you can't really, so I would say take so much out per
Look
year.
at it by the year and
Yeah.
have a game plan.
That's
for the
right.
year
Say, well,
and Say, all right, here's what we're gonna do.
We're gonna do $2,000 this year, we'll do another.
October is the
2,000.
only time you can pull permit.
Well, October, that's right, yeah,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, that's only, that's right, so.
I'll get penalized.
Without penalty.
It is, but the town, I mean, if you were going to project that for next summer, the town could front the 2,000 and then pull it out of the fund in October. I mean, it's not like the town couldn't afford to front that, so they could do the work. So he's not waiting another year to do the work.
Right, okay.
So he's got till next summer because,
Springtime, I'll look at the plan.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thanks, John.
Brian, before you close.
Thank you.
Every department today.
Just two things. One problem I've been having on 359 is there's a dog that's always loose.
Husky.
No,
No, not that one.
no, that one's our newest problem.
Yeah, it's been a problem all summer. I try to get up there. I try to, get tickets, I have pictures. I've given her 3 tickets. I've warned her even a year ago. And before I gave her 3 tickets, I talked with her. One time she did answer the door. And she's, oh, it's too much for me, this and that. I said, well, are you willing to give up the dog? Oh, this is her home. And no. So,
Right.
I said, but in a neighbor, no one wants to pick up your dog's crap. I got pictures of the dog with a full bag of garbage. Sheila Worth has called me 3 or 4 times.
She's
Really
not,
upset.
we thought she was gonna be here tonight, but she's not nice when she calls.
But it does go down Current Ave into those duplexes. And I've tried to catch that dog and everybody shoot it away. I can't catch it. I'd have to get a trap and I can't really beat down the door. So at this point, I've written her 3 tickets and I have 2 more to serve.
Okay.
Okay.
At what point am I just?
It's like a black lab.
Yeah.
So the other issue is that we have talked to Noah about this, and there's no clear definition in the ordinance on what to do. It does say if you've given somebody a violation, at least 3 violations in a certain amount of time that you can impound the dog. However, there's nothing further than that. So like, okay, if we impound the dog and she pays the $25 impound fee and whatever it is for the daily, whatever, does she just get her dog back? It's a waste of everybody's time. The problem is you've got several residents up there that the dog is a nuisance. So that's the other thing that we're here for, is we would really, really like you guys to adopt something more similar to Derby's ordinance. It's a little more detailed. I think that you could probably tweak it The fines are a little better. Because the fines here are $35. It's, we don't even know if she's paying them. That's the other problem. So we sent them, but
Have a fine?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
all right.
So it's what, $100? $100 is,
It's $50 and the waiver is 35.
yeah.
Waiverable to 35?
The
So
maximum
when
is
you
50,
hand her the
and then when
ticket,
I
she
write
pays
it, it's
$35.
I see.
Yeah.
Where's the $100 coming?
There's something else. It's $100. Derby's is actually the same. So for everything.
Okay.
So it's like $100 and then 50 for subsequent, it goes up. So theirs is a little more concise, a little, like I said, the fines are a little stiffer. One of the things that we talked about last night, I'd be happy to make notes and like whatever, but one of the things is the boarding. So there's an impound fee. Ours, like I said, is $25. And then Renee is about $25 a day for the boarding costs. So say he picks up this dog and he brings it to Renee. One, you're paying mileage for him to do that. And then if the person goes and picks up this dog, it's going to cost them $50 to get it back if it's licensed. Her dogs are licensed, by the way. But then like that's all ours says. Derby's actually says if it gets impounded more than once within a six month period, I personally think it should be a year, like a 12-month period. But if it gets picked up a second time, it goes up. And then it goes up the third time.
I've read derbies.
So
before,
it makes
pretty
it more and
intense.
more difficult for them to get their dog back.
Yeah.
At which point then, if they don't pick it up within a certain amount of time, the dog can then be rehomed. Now we're not trying to be mean to this woman, but she clearly can't handle the dog. And the problem is you've got Hillside Acres up there and that dog goes right there because none of them take care of their garbage. So that dog goes right down to Hillside Acres, grabs its little treat and runs right across Lisa Cooper's lawn and right back home. It's a nuisance.
Just got a trail.
There's just no clarity in the ordinance on where he can go with it once he's done this. So now he's at the impound, but if he can't catch the dog, he can't impound the dog. Does he take Matt and go take the dog and impound it? Like there's no direction.
I would say the
So,
there's a
hello,
little.
Yes, Joel.
all right. So it's time for the attorney again, perhaps, but
Yeah.
yeah, you don't want to go on their property and impound that dog without a search warrant. If you can catch the dog off the property and it's in violation and that's allowed in our ordinance, that would be the preferred, that's okay. Then you can impound the dog, not worry
runs
about,
away.
not worry about the search warrant. But if you're going on somebody's property you want the sheriff with you and you want a search warrant.
Is this dog a complete outdoor dog?
No.
And out.
She gets home and.
And
gets
say.
away.
Is it ugly?
Is it ugly?
No, it just it's
No,
scary.
it's
wicked
pain in
skittish,
everybody's
yeah.
cookies.
Bring a steak to it.
No, it's actually really,
Fearful.
it's just skittish.
Fearful.
Yeah.
Unsocialized, fearful.
Probably understands when you're trying to get.
Of course, a lot of people, like it goes down to Hillside Acres and of course, all of them yell at it and throw at it. And so, like, it's just not,
Doesn't trust anybody.
it's not the dog's fault. It really is not the
Too bad.
dog's fault.
I say, do what you gotta do with that. Bring us the ordinance, or
No.
have you send us the ordinance? We can all read it and maybe adopt that, because it takes 60 days after we adopt the new thingy.
No.
Why am I thinking
Yeah.
that?
Before
I
it would
think
go
so.
into effect, right?
Right, so maybe we can look at it and have it all
Does that have to be
adoptable next meeting.
voted at the town meeting?
No.
No.
No, okay.
No, ordinance is
Select board does ordinances.
Okay.
our purview.
There are a number of options for enforcing the civil ordinance, which is what our ordinance is. This, going this way is one route. I haven't looked at it lately, but you can't just seize their property. You could put a lien on their property, I think, but the attorney could help you out with that. over my.
I think
paper.
having a clearer dog ordinance would be highly beneficial. Ours is muddy at best.
Mhm.
So meanwhile, what is Ryan doing? Are we?
Delivering them tickets.
If you
Yeah,
want some
no,
action,
I think-
if you want some action, get an attorney involved quick and get,
Let me get the attorney
get an
involved.
order out there.
Okay,
To do what, though?
Well,
I
that's.
mean,
the
I got it.
question.
I agree, but I just, what are we asking the lawyer to do?
tie up her dog.
Well, for one thing,
That's what I'm saying.
he's
They don't
got,
want me to
he's been issued several tickets. And my last understanding of the Judicial Bureau, which handles those kinds of civil ordinances, that if they don't pay the fine within 30 days and don't appeal the fine within 30 days, they're adjudicated guilty. And so what you want the attorney to do is make sure that that gets enforced.
Okay, there we go. That, just to help out Ryan.
So what happens if they don't pay, like if say she hasn't paid the fine? Like she, obviously, I'm assuming she hasn't disputed it because I would assume that Noah or somebody in the town would have gotten the dispute and they would have notified Ryan to go to court. But if she doesn't pay the fine and like what happens if the attorney gets involved to enforce, what happens to her? Like they just make her pay
She
the
goes to jail.
fine? That's what I was
I don't know.
wondering, if there are consequences. for
Usually
not
if
paying
you
the
don't
fine.
pay your fines, you get, you go to jail.
Yeah, well, you're gonna find that's hard to put a.
The dog goes in jail.
That's,
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
but you know, like,
It won't be the dog going to jail.
it'd be the dog, not the dog owner, not the dog.
right.
That's a hard, I don't think.
But generally, I mean,
Yeah,
like, if
that-
you don't pay your speeding ticket, you lose your license, you continue to drive, you go to jail. Like there's,
Yeah.
and I don't know the laws on
If you
doggy.
want to impound the dog, then you add that to the attorney's
Yes.
request as well. If you think the dog needs to be impounded or some other order given to this person that the court will back up.
I would
That's
think,
exactly-
Joel, if she loved the dog well enough, she'd handle this matter, I would think.
It honestly
You
got
know?
better after he gave her the first round of tickets. It very honestly got better. She got a better gate. And we didn't hear anything for what, like 4 months?
Yeah, I don't hear anything but that.
But then now all of a
Exactly.
sudden, we don't know if, we're not sure what happened, but all of a sudden in the last couple of weeks, it's been call after call on this dog. Thankfully, there is a neighbor that has a really good camera, so we get camera footage of it.
Well, that's
But-
very good.
I mean, it could be, I mean, I think back to the incident, I had to call you guys and it was just, we went and helped them repair the hole in the fence
Yeah,
that the dog busted through. I mean, if she needs help building a gate, I'm not in the position right
Right.
now to go do it, but I mean, I had to put
Is
an
that the
auto
issue
locking
up there,
gate.
Ryan? Is it because it's just getting out of the?
it gets away from her when she gets home, I think.
She needs a double gate is what she needs.
Yeah.
I
I
see.
think she has 2 dogs and only one of them gets loose.
She's an escape artist. Yeah.
So we're getting a lawyer involved? That's what we're
I
saying,
guess, right?
to enforce what's already been issued?
See if we can impound it.
Right.
And then in the meantime, work on stronger.
Well, I would say the language of impounding should be,
Yeah.
notified. I don't know. My concern is that dog is like a therapy dog to her. And once that's impounded, then you're gonna might potentially have other issues.
Well, she has 2 dogs, but. Just saying.
So she's got one
Be a
or-
No, we're not
designated.
trying to take her dog away. We just
Careful.
want her to keep it at home.
There's a difference between an emotional support animal and a service animal. One is protected by law, one is not.
No. I use the word therapy. What I'm saying is a dog is very personal to a person. We
If it
all know
keeps
that.
them
Dogs
sane,
are
yeah.
Very personal. So when you use the words impound, that's gonna get even more personal. So what I'm suggesting is sort of a ramp up. So when we talk to the lawyer,
Can you just harshly word a letter
Correct.
and just
That's
say,
what I'm
you
saying.
have to keep. your dog
enforce what you've already done, and then make a recommendation that impound, is the next step.
And advise them that impound, then that's what the lawyer would do. I mean, we don't go in and steal dogs. and
No.
do that right
And
away.
that's not what he's trying to do. The problem is like, we're in the middle of our, I mean, you get it, you own a business. We're in the middle of our workday and like 3 people call because they're angry because this dog keeps getting out, stealing their garbage, which I understand.
Right.
And then when we have to tell them, we're working on it, we've given her tickets, like we Ryan has done everything that he can do at this point, and that's why he's here because
There's nothing the select board can do as far as writing a letter to this instead of using the lawyer. Is that something we could try first? Is that?
Gotta have the-
That's hard to, I'm just saying, we're gonna have this lawyer so damn busy here. It's gonna be ridiculous.
Oh, no, we're paying them, so
Yeah,
no, they don't
I
mind.
don't like that.
I mind the budget.
it's their salary.
Yeah, but it's our budget.
I'm just out of curiosity if there's something that you could do to write ourselves a letterhead from the town of Brighton, or Doug.
I mean, we could send a letter.
I mean, that's just to
We
try
could
that
start
first.
with that.
Can we just try that so we get away
Start
from the
with that
lawyer?
and,
Yeah, that's fine.
and if there's no response.
Is that okay with
then-
everybody? I'd like to try that first before we get anyone on to a
Consequences up
lawyer.
to and then potentially
Yeah.
including impound.
You know,
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
no, you did.
That was a step that we do for the lawyer.
You need to look at up in that fine too, so you don't have to be in this position.
That's why we're gonna have the
Yeah,
Derby, Derby one pulled down and see if we can mimic theirs.
Yeah.
Theirs is really intense. And
It's actually
escalates quick.
not, that's
It
that's
escalates.
the benefit of
Like,
it, is
right,
it
it
escalates. Yeah. Yeah, I did read through that last night.
You felt
That was a little
pretty
better.
well last time around.
It took care of that, and I did actually check on Pete's hall. It was licensed and.
Perfect.
Okay.
Well, maybe just a letter from you, Lola.
Okay.
So I have a silly question. Would rec go under other business or public comment? Miss Maria's here with me for about some things.
Well,
She's not.
okay, but we can do that, but we all done with the updates? No more? No, yes, there is no more.
No more departments.
Okay, so, all right, so we can go to the rec logo update.
No, this isn't the logo.
That's me.
This is
Right.
I just
Oh,
didn't
you
know
wanna
this
do
was under
public com-
public comment.
Oh, you want to?
It has to do with the recreation group, but we're not on there, so I didn't know. But Maria's here with me
Oh,
for
I
it.
see. Oh, okay.
So I'm asking
She's
you to
trying to
go
pull my
out
butt
of
out.
order. Because I know she wants to go
I
get
see.
food.
All right.
Sure.
So we've recently run into a conundrum with the recreation committee around open gym. We worked with the school and the emails started back on September 4th. And we started trying to work with them, willing to pay for their space to get into the school, absent of the MOU that we're still working on with them. And in order to ensure that we had at least one day a month of access for the kids in this town who did not play organized sports because they're not old enough. The two basketball teams for the school are 6th, 7th, and 8th grade only. We went ahead and advertised and scheduled and did everything to be able to have a once a month on Mondays, open gym for 2 hours for the kids. During that time, they're doing things like dodgeball and capture the flag and a bunch of just giving them a chance to have a place indoors that they can hang out. On last Tuesday before, the one that I had my surgery on, I received a call from the basketball court coach, pretty much demanding that we cancel our program because the school needed access to the gym. And that was their practice time, despite having been scheduled months ago. And we are asking for the select board's support and allowing us to continue to keep at least one day a month open for the kids after school to have a place to play that aren't involved in the organized sports.
I think that right there is the key point because this having an open gym for those students who are not involved in the sport is really important community outreach. for the town. These kids, there's a lot of kids in town that do not play sports and they need an outlet, and the open gym is a perfect outlet for them. And I think it would be unfair, given that the rec department booked those spaces in advance, to say no, like to take that away in favor of the school who had an opportunity to come to you and say,
And
we
we-
need this time in these days.
We tried to go to the school. We reached out to the churches to see if we could use those. We looked at different rooms in every space in town before we said, okay, at this point, we've got to go ahead and do something, because the kids need something to keep them constructive. It is a supervised event. The last one, I think we had close to 20 kids in there. And we're just hoping that we can get you guys in support.
One day a week or?
One day a month.
One day a month.
One day a
Yeah,
month.
and
I have,
School can't schedule around that one day a month?
I literally told the coach or the athletic director that I was 2 hours post-surgical and couldn't have this conversation and needed to schedule to call him back after somebody gave my personal number, not the recreation number, out. And I was told basically, no, we need to have this conversation now.
I told the individual months ago, and I came up with a $75 fee per use per day. Okay. Told the individual, since I was a child, 1958, I was born in this town, that gym has been a multi-purpose use facility since I was born, and will remain such that this town will use that gym whenever and for whatever the town deems necessary. It is not just a basketball court. And I think a letter needs to be sent from the select board to the individual saying such. It was scheduled long before their schedule, and we're going to honor the rec's schedule, per the request.
And that's why we kept asking them for their schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, that's one day a month.
I know,
It wasn't
right?
for
Take
lack
it
of trying, though.
away,
We
Right.
like,
Yeah.
Right.
it's specifically
did the
2 hours
work.
a month.
Yeah.
It's specifically 2 hour window from 4 PM to 6 PM on the second Tuesday of the month, second Monday of the month.
Well, they can use it at 6.
We are 6 to 8. on
And it's the
Mondays.
school,
Oh, 6 to 8.
it's the school that's rebuttaling this, that's giving you.
It was the athletic director.
They have an athletic director, for the.
Wow.
The coach.
It's cool.
I was told
Yeah.
it was the athletic director.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, if you've already scheduled this out, well, I don't see any reason to change this.
No.
I agree.
I don't believe.
And when I push back, I will push
You have-
back, and
You have my support on that. Push
if I
back.
need to, I will come back to you guys and get a letter, hopefully before the next one.
Noah, call Noah. I mean, the board supports the rec in their schedule, 100%.
So have you been able to use it? You used it once and now, so now
It was
there's,
very, we got in there.
okay. But
That was the 9th.
We got in there at 4:05. Because they needed to practice before then.
Well, I hope you don't have any more trouble with that. That's not, it's not our.
Asking 2 hours a month,
Yeah.
seriously?
Do I need to send a letter?
Yeah, I think it does. That the rec
The,
program will be,
I guess,
their
it's
schedule will be honored.
the rec departments.
Yep.
Yeah.
Understood.
Even if they show up 5 or 10 minutes late, the rec program.
no, we were
will be
there.
Honored.
Yeah,
Yeah,
scheduled.
yes.
It is good for the kids, like.
Oh, no
A
doubt.
lot of these kids are kids that do not play sports, and so to get them out and not in front of a TV and doing something other than what they
Right.
do at their houses.
And
Quite
growing in
honestly, it should be,
popularity.
it should
Two
be
days.
once a week. Not now, but.
Right.
Oh, I would, if I had space, I would do it once a week.
Yeah.
I mean, we were aiming for Friday nights, but that's, that's competitive with another group that uses one night a week in the gym. So yeah,
How come the kids aren't using the school gym?
that's a question for the school. That's a really good question. for the school.
MOU.
Oh, why
They're
are,
waiting on
why
their
are, why
response.
isn't the rec committee using it?
No, why are the kids that need the 2 hours?
The basketball team
No, the kids.
Because we have to,
The rec department.
School gym for them.
Town manager update, how about that?
They're saying no.
The school for the kids for the 2 hours that they only can come here. Why aren't they opening the gym for the kids there when we had some kind of agreement if you can't?
Yeah,
don't.
We don't, they have not responded.
Oh.
We're still, and that,
So
that's gonna be part of Noah's report here
That's-
in a moment.
Should be going over there. They'd have more time.
Okay,
Then we'd have to move equipment and all. that.
all right, well, look at that. Town manager report.
Oh, no, public comment.
What about the town
I-
manager
Oh,
report?
That's after public
I
comment.
got something for
More public comment? I'm sorry.
Before I
Yep.
get out of here. You know, we got a beautiful town. I grew up in this town and I came back after 40 years and here's winter time, Christmas time, and it's like the Christmas stuff is out there, but it's not lit. Got a beautiful tree this year. So why can't we do more in this town? I know everything's money, 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 like the walk bridge or the pavilion or something, and the new lights on the poles. So maybe something to think about next year.
have we ever lit the walk bridge?
No,
No?
no.
Light it up.
Has anybody ever seen the Stark Bridge? It would look really pretty.
Yeah,
That's all.
it's just.
As long as they're not old school candle lights that'll burn the building down.
Thanks a lot.
Mike.
All right,
Okay.
I got something on public comment. So just to let you guys, the board, be aware that the sign Pleasant Street,
You got it.
we've been talking about since March.
Yes,
That's fixed. Now it's not working.
that's right.
yes.
Again?
We got that.
Again,
Yeah.
I went
Yes.
by yesterday. and I
The speed
saw-
limit one?
So I'm just
Yeah,
letting you
the
know
one- new
before
one
the
that was
warranty
fixed.
runs out with the new parts that you put in.
I will call Marlin Controls. Mike emailed me, so I definitely know.
Are they gonna be coming out or?
We're probably gonna have to remove it ourselves and then ship it back as well. But we'll be paying for those.
Well, there was a warranty on that this time, was there?
Well,
They
yeah,
should be covered.
That's been out for like 45 days, 60 days, 30 days?
It's barely.
it's barely
been a
been,
month.
yeah,
Right.
2 meetings ago, somebody said it was working and working really well.
Yeah, no.
yeah, it's not working.
Week and a half has been out.
It's been longer than that, but
Well, I've noticed it for a week and a half, yeah.
just so.
Because we haven't had much sun.
Well, that was the other issue.
I hope that's not, like, there should be a new battery in that side.
Yeah.
Public.
Yeah, is there any more public comment?
No.
All right,
On to
now,
manager. Okay.
Thank you.
Eventually,
thank you.
don't leave and I'll talk to you about that after.
Ryan, thanks for what you do out there.
Yes, thank you, Ryan.
Thank you. So we're kind of taking a little pause on material requests. The new request, the upcoming school MOU.
I'm sorry, I
Tell me.
don't have my report, my notes from last meeting. What materials were we talking about?
Sure.
Mike.
Mike sent me an email requesting additional material.
Can I correct you? I don't recall asking for extra material. I think we discussed that, no, and when I replied to you about it, I could drive over that. So I thought the ditching was fine. I don't believe I requested any. You're talking on the 5 Mile Square, correct?
Across the street from Craig Gillette's property.
Yeah,
On the 5 Mile Square Road, where we talked, where they did the ditching. I think that's what this was about.
Right,
Remember that?
Yeah, you-
property that I-
Why
I'm
would
just
the
thinking
truck?
he's got multiple properties.
Well, this is the only one I discussed. That was the one on the 5 where he said that he couldn't get across to park at, well, you can't.
Yeah. I get it.
Well,
Okay.
no, I didn't ask for additional. I was telling everybody that I went to see that and I could drive in there
With
over
your
that ditch. So that's, so
So we're good.
yes, I didn't request any extra material, okay?
Okay, and the additional material was road material.
Yep.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
But
all right.
that wasn't the case at all.
Okay.
So misunderstanding, I don't know by whom, but not a problem there, okay?
okay.
So the school MOU, I contacted them again. The response I got back was, hey, we have to wait for a board meeting. Once we have a board meeting, we will sign the document, we will send it back. I've heard varying stories from different people at the school,
There may be changes.
but in short, I need a document in front of me with the school signature from
Mhm.
an authorized representative, be it from the school board or the principal.
So we're waiting on the school.
Yes,
correct.
we have been.
Who do you talk to, Noah, when you,
The
the board,
chair
the
of,
principal,
the chair of the school board,
the chair of the school board?
Judy Valente.
Okay.
Not
No,
blended.
Custodian.
No,
Custodian.
yeah.
Okay,
There's a lot of Judys.
Thank you.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
so when is the next school board meeting? Do you know?
I do not know.
Second Wednesday
Wednesday.
of
So
each month.
So it's next week.
No.
No, second Wednesday of each month.
Oh, of each month.
So it's the same nights that we have our rec meetings. So it won't be until,
January
They're having one,
yes.
January, yeah.
seventh.
January 7th.
Okay, all right. So I won't, I just want a date timestamp on when.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yep,
I will reach out to them then if I do not hear anything.
yep, thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna do it then. The OLT cabinet, I received some news today from Rick Hannix regarding the placement of that. I guess they,
Okay.
they,
No.
they told me location's good, but does it snow there?
Does it
Yes.
snow there?
Yes, it snows there. And does snow fall off the roof? The answer is yes, obviously. So they think that might not be a good location. So I'm going to have to go back to them and say, okay, what do you want to do? Let's get this in. Let's get me an easement. Let's get this done. But I guess they did not factor that in when they were doing their bill.
I'm trying to understand. You said Rick Hannix. So did Rick Hannix bring up the problem or did the NEK broadband bring up the problem?
Rick happened to be there when they were doing inspection.
I see.
And so he asked them, and so Rick felt it imperative to let me know.
Uh-huh.
Said, hey, did you know that they may not go through with this because there's not, snow falls off the roof and might hit the cabinet? I'm like, okay, I will reach out to them.
Couldn't they put a diverter on the roof that would kind of just shove the snow to either direction?
I was thinking the same thing. I just haven't
And
had.
it seems like that would be the easy fix for that.
Snow happens in Vermont.
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna reach out to NEK?
Yes, they just told me today, so.
Yeah. We don't want to go through this whole easement process
Yeah.
again. Just, we can figure out some
Something-
short-term solution.
Make it happen.
It's really, this is
Come on,
crazy.
man.
I know. Wasted a
I hear
whole
you.
lot of time. with this.
Metal roof? It's a metal roof, right?
On the fire.
All the fire department, yes.
I don't remember ever moving it that close to the building, to be honest with you. I thought we talked about.
Hold it.
It's not- Yeah.
Snow stopper.
Well, hold up. The town shouldn't have to do that if NEK broadband is asking for an easement.
Right,
Yeah.
But I don't think they would want to do something on our
No,
building.
no.
Yeah,
No, but they could pay for it. I mean, if we wanted to do it, they could pay for it. And I think
Yes.
they would.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't.
And
see
it's
the
not,
town-
and it's not a lot of it.
Right. I mean,
It's
that pad's
Two-foot
not that big.
section.
Right, right.
yeah, not a huge deal. So I'll
Right.
reach out to them.
Okay.
FEMA flood buyout. I got my first one in today. So I will be working through that process.
There's another one pending.
She has not talked to me, so I do not know until she fills out the documents.
Okay,
But yes, there is one more.
Is that from the first flood? No?
Yes, from the first flood.
First.
Yep. And then
Flood buyout.
Yep.
FEMA.
Were they from the first flood or were they from the second flood?
first flood. First flood on
Oh, okay.
safety grant. I reviewed that, and upon further review, I didn't see an area for us to utilize those funds for a crosswalk on the corner of Cross and Main here. In that grant document, reviewing those pages, it shows that we have $2,550, and that can only be used for signage for the bridge. So we have to use those funds for what we specified we were going to do.
so the safety grant was for the signage for the
Bridge.
bridge?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
So if we have those funds.
so this bridge?
Head of the pond, head of the pond road.
Yeah.
The one there that's by
Waiting.
Dupree.
Yep.
Yeah, Dupree's.
Okay, all right.
So
Um,
yes, the funds there.
is this the grant that we may have missed a deadline for?
No.
No,
Not yet. It's coming up, December 31st.
yes.
Yep.
They
Okay,
have to, they have to get it ordered and paid for by December 31st.
Yep.
We did leave out, so that grant was written to take out all the trees there at the intersection with 105, another section of trees further back on the head of the pond road, the signage at the bridge, and then it was supposed to cover the white line striping on Pleasant Street. But Andy didn't get that in this year, and it's too late now. So it's not, we're going to lose that 11, it was 11,500 for that. We're not going to get. And that project won't, that striping won't take place.
Any chance that you can appeal that due to the fact that we had flooding that diverted a lot of our attention for a while?
No, because that grant actually he got the go ahead for all of that work in March, which was before any of the flooding. And the only thing he was not permitted to do was the tree trimming, because that was only allowed to be done in November. And they were very, I mean, they sent out notices, and I made sure that he had them and sent them to him. And so it didn't get done in the spring. And so by the time that he got around to it in November, he couldn't get anybody to do the striping. It was too late.
And that's the Better Roads Grant?
No, that was a highway safety program grant, HISP, HISP. It was
Okay.
something we applied for a year ago. I mean, we actually were awarded that grant in the early part of 23. But because of the tree trimming, it had to go through NEPA, which is the National Environmental Protection Act. It had to have NEPA approval for cutting those trees down. And that took about 8 months from the state to approve.
So
that.
what
That's
was
why
it that, so the striping didn't make it into the grant proposal?
the striping was in the grant proposal. We were approved for it. The work was not completed.
Okay,
And it has a deadline of December 31st. There is no extensions. So we're just not accessing that. We're giving it back, basically. I mean, it's a
Okay.
reimbursement. We didn't get the money, but we're not going to get it either.
so that striping, okay, we initially had $11,000.
Yeah.
And we're only going to get 2,500.
You're not going to get anything for the striping. Striping is not going to happen.
It's for the signage.
Okay,
The
that's
2,550 was for the signage. There was $20,000 in tree removal, $2,500 in signage, and $11,000 for striping. We should, and I have to
striping
make
on
sure that
Pleasant
we've
Street.
actually submitted the invoices for reimbursement for the tree trimming, because we did do that work.
Okay.
And the signage, you know, so long as we can get it ordered and paid for by December 31st, we can turn that in. The striping we can't, because it's too late. Nobody's going to stripe in the snow. So
right.
that's just not going to happen.
So it has to be, can it be obligated by
No.
December 31st?
Nope.
It
It
has
must
to
be
be-
paid out by December 31st. That's
Can
a
we
hard
prepay?
and fast
Are
deadline.
are we cash or
Accrual?
Or cash.
accrual?
Or
We are
cash.
cash. All right.
Yeah.
Can we
And they would
prepay?
want a receipt that it was complete. You have to prove that it was
Yeah, you have to
completed
complete
and
it,
paid.
right. Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
pictures.
I was trying to prepay.
It's not one of those grants that has any wiggle room. It's very hardcore. And the people who are running that grant from the state are,
Okay.
So when was this grant?
Mark. And it's,
First,
it was awarded
March.
about a year ago. It was awarded like in March or April of 23, and then they got approval to proceed in March of this year.
This
That's
is
when we
the
got
first-
the NEPA evaluation came back clear. Yes, you can
Yeah,
cut
I
trees.
got that part. So this is the first time these guys are hearing about this grant?
No, they've known about it all along. Oh,
Oh,
no.
yes.
Well, the select board, I mean, the select board would have known about it. And what Andy had said was that, you know, we were going to move that signage money to put that crosswalk there at the Dollar General. And then so, you know, when I went back, I wrote the grant. So I kind of knew it. So I went back and looked, and it specifically states in there, we made the argument in this grant application that it was imperative that we had this signage on that bridge. So you can't go move that signage somewhere else in town unless they approved it. And so I asked, did he get approval to move that signage? And evidently he did not. And so we can't do that.
I'm just asking if the board was aware of it before tonight, that you had that grant.
It was Andy's grant.
Because they're
It was
asking
Andy's
a lot of questions.
You're right, it
about
was
Andy's.
I'm only asking
Yep.
because the more people that knew, maybe somebody would have said, hey, we're getting close to this.
Well,
date."
after that
I
grant was
wasn't aware
done a
of the
year
line
ago.
striping
I mean,
portion.
it was done a year ago, and it was brought to the select board's attention probably in February or March that we had passed through it. But
Okay.
these guys didn't start on the board until later.
Right.
So
And we don't generally schedule, like the select board doesn't schedule the work.
I know that.
Yeah.
And we don't administer the funds, so. it would-
Just while we're on the subject of these grants, Mike, is that a big deal to let the board know what we are and where we stand with grants? Is it, I mean, just to name the grant and where we stand with it? Where, is it a hard thing to do to bring that to the board to let us
yeah,
know?
I mean, it's not that it's that hard. It's that most of the time you're not going to get much of a report. It's, yes, we're proceeding, but we have, the town of Brighton probably gets on average 25 to 30 grants a year. I mean, it's a lot, and it's something we want to put into the annual report this year to show, this is when people say the taxpayers are paying for everything. They're not. I mean, there is a lot that the town gets because of the grants that they receive.
But if it's not a big
that
deal,
budget that we have for $2.5 million does not pay for all the things we have in town.
but if it's not a big deal, I'd like to see the grants that are in, just on a piece of paper so that, like James said, we can keep an eye on it and ask questions about it. That way we know that they don't get stalled and we can actually see what we're working on, where we sit with them. If it's not a big deal, I'd like to get that report.
The thing is, we have to get from the road department. That's the ones that I don't have anything to do with. I mean,
yeah.
All right, well,
and they're the ones that I always question whether we got because, like I send to them. So because I was chair of the select board, they still have my email address. So when the Better Roads grant comes out and the MGRP grant comes out and Better Back Roads, I get a copy of, this grant is available, make sure you fill it out by such and such a date. So I always make sure. Now, Andy and, and I don't know who else gets it, but the road foreman always gets that. I always send it along as well and say, just wanted to make sure you received this. And so then, if I get the second notice, that, we haven't applied, are you going to apply this year? I'll send it out again. But most years I end up like doing the letters of intent and saying, yes, we're going to do it. But that is not my job. That is the road foreman's job, whoever the road foreman is.
Okay.
And so
what I'm seeing here is not that there's mismanagement. There is a breakdown in management of tracking what needs to be done with all the grants.
Not the grants that I do. Nope. I have never missed a deadline once.
The town has a shortcoming in tracking the grants, period. The town, not pointing fingers, okay? We lost out on $11,000 worth of grants, okay? Not pointing fingers, whose fault it is, but there's the breakdown in that management, in tracking it. So I think what Mike is asking for, all of the grants that we have, it's going to take time to build that first report. Now, like you said, subsequent reports are going to be, there's nothing going to be changing. It's just no changes since last report. So those subsequent reports will be minimal amount of effort. And
Like grant A, key deadlines.
yes, and
And a date.
and what deadlines and what each project was supposed to be and what their deadlines are.
I believe we did give you that when you guys came on the board. You asked for that, and we did give you a list of all the grants that were in process, at least the ones that I have anything to do with.
I didn't receive anything, Mike. I'm sorry. Unless I went over my head, and that's possible.
I may have received something, but there wasn't any subsequent statuses of the grants. So I think that needs to be implemented as soon as we can.
We did try and set up a meeting at one point with the board because I think that while you're asking about grants, there's a lot of not only existing grants, but just in the last couple of weeks, we've got notice of other new grant opportunities that are out there. So, and then we've got ones that we're applying for but don't have yet, ones that we're closing out. So you want more, I think, to really give you the information that you want. I think we need to have sit down and give you a whole presentation and just, I mean, because you probably want to know about the loans and things for the sewer wastewater treatment plant. Those are not exactly grants, but we have
Yep.
to have a single audit because of that. I would imagine you want to know about that. And that would be great. Love to do that. So, but we have to have a meeting so that we can really,
Explain it.
You know, there, months and months ago, I asked for a list of every single grant this town had. And Noah, you gave me a short list. I asked for a specific format. That was not submitted. Then I got busy. So now that we lost $11,000, I'm going to press for that. And I will give you a format of how I want to see, the board wants to see these reports.
So we'll need to agree
Yeah,
on that
that's-
format. And like,
Yes.
And I think that format, we should work with them because they know
if it's,
what the format should be, I think.
Well,
Because they.
I've dealt with grants for
Well, I
14
get
years,
it, I get
and
it.
I know the format that this
Well, I know
board
what-
will
what
be.
is the
agreeable to.
format they're using.
Okay, well, we'll
I
see.
do recall the request that you made for that and the format that you wanted. And I looked at that and I said, that's going to be, not all of it that I think was relevant to what you really wanted and would have required some work that I didn't think was going to be relevant to the point that you were after. So when I
Well,
responded
I'm
to you, I
sorry,
gave
Joel,
you
that
the
wasn't your
information that I-
decision to make. That wasn't your decision to make. I asked for a specific format and you didn't
But-
provide it.
what, I don't think I saw the format because I know I didn't agree on the format.
No, I wanted a list of maps and, well, I'll show you what I sent it. Okay. Whether it did
we
need to be
all need to be
approved.
on the
It
same
need to be
page.
approved by this board. I wanted information and not a
So-
report. I wanted information and it wasn't
So
provided.
I would have been glad if you had written back to me and said, well, that's okay, but can you tell me this? Like you
Granted.
wanted something like the CFDA number. Well,
Yes.
I went,
That's only for federal grants.
what purpose does that
Do we
really
not
serve?
have
It's
federal
gonna-
grants?
It's
We
gonna
have
take-
some, but we have a whole lot of non-federal grants.
Okay. That are
It's,
And even if
Okay.
it was why, that would take up a lot of my precious time for, I thought, wasn't really
initially.
that
Yeah,
important.
initially.
So if it was important and you wanted to ask me for it, I would have gone and looked it up. But I
Okay.
thought that my first response, I thought would be just to give you what I thought you really wanted to know, not what I thought was not really necessary.
All right.
okay. Are we good?
sorry, just so we're clear, what are you asking the employees to do? What will be the next step? Will you come back to the board and say, hey, guys, look at this. This is kind of what we want. What I'm thinking of, do you guys agree with that? Like,
Because
Oh,
So,
yes, I will prepare a format that I would prefer to see and present it to the board.
say, and I'll then say, I prefer the DMAIC format, which is just super simple.
Format.
A DMAIC format, which literally says, this is the grant. These are your dates, on target, behind target, off target.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And it's
There, easy.
quick to update.
Okay.
And the more eyes on it, the more less chance you'll have of losing it.
And it's a living, breathing document.
Okay, completed agenda. That's you.
oh, no,
We're not doing,
we're done.
We haven't heard about completed agenda items.
What?
Okay.
Agenda items, right?
So the right of way agreement, right? You guys, there's only 4 new updates, right? The recycling center, you guys, we agree we're not doing that.
What about the first two, Memorial Park maintenance?
I'm working backwards. Right of way agreements, we agreed. We're not gonna pursue that. $100 nonprofit, I'm getting that out to them. That way you can sign the lease agreement for the railroad station for the space he currently leases. Memorial Park, trim bushes and Christmas tree. Those were just the latest.
We went to that in this one.
And everything else is. And this is attached to the map. Beautiful. It was to the last one as well.
Repairs. What's the Marlin controls?
Oh, that was when we first sent the sign out, got it back and had it installed, and now we're back to square one.
Oh, that's the
Oh, Marlon,
speed limit sign up on Pleasant Street? Okay.
that's
Thank
it.
you.
That was the pedestrian side on this. Does Marlon also own the,
Oh, yeah, we were looking into the cost for that as well. Yeah, they own a whole
oh,
sign business.
maybe we're on the other
All
one.
right, okay.
Maybe we don't want to buy any more signs. from them for the last 3 weeks.
Regarding-
Is that the ones you're talking about down by the Dollar General, the sidewalk sign?
Yes.
Yeah, the grant doesn't cover those
Yeah,
anymore.
Confirm this regarding
Or never did.
delay. Okay. Does the town, as far as the hydrant, the Pleasant Street hydrant, does the town have,
We got the hydrant replaced, fixed, and we have backups.
okay, do we have outdated, non-standard red hydrants in town?
Yes.
Okay, can we get a list of those hydrants from the fire chief?
That's, can you get one? Yes, I can get you a list.
Okay,
It's never been clear who takes care of that. In short,
It's the water department.
Yeah, it is.
yeah,
okay, but the fire department would know what their hoses fit and what they don't.
agreed. But who does
Okay.
the inventory and who does the flushing?
All right, okay.
That's the question. But yes, I can get you that list because I believe they went around, Zach went around with a gentleman from the fire department and they looked at every fire hydrant that we had and confirmed what additional actions were needed.
Okay,
Which they're getting a quote for me as well.
okay.
And that goes to the water sewer board.
Okay, has that been brought to the attention of the fire chief?
Yeah.
Because they're gonna need those adapters.
Yes.
Okay,
But this hydrant that had to be delayed, it was the part down in that broke when she hit it, right?
Yep.
Not the fittings of the fire department.
yeah. Yeah, there was just a tangent question.
Yeah.
Okay,
Don't run over a hydrant, just plain and simple. Not good for you.
Any other questions on the manager report?
I do not have any.
Any questions? Okay, let's move on. The recreation logo update. That's Mike.
Oh,
Mike's gonna share a pretty picture.
yes, yes.
Ooh,
We
yeah.
actually have got the last of our town things that has been brought up to standards with our logo that was created by Landworks for us. Oh God, a while ago. They said, we should be using this the trees with the little water and all that stuff. We should have that in all of our marking materials for town.
Right.
And it has taken probably 6
Wow.
years to get every department up to that, but this was the last one. I don't believe we have any other departments that do not have a logo. So just wanted to share that. That's my raw news. Because you can see I did fire department for their t-shirts. The library has one. Water and sewer now has one. And the town, Island Pond was the original logo. So, and that's why you always see that on our banners that are on the streets and all of that. It's in every advertisement we do for town.
the Allen Pond one or the town of Brighton one?
Well, it's the little circle at the top is the actual.
I see, okay.
That is, yeah.
And that is in you'll see it's in, even on the fire one, it's on the hat.
I couldn't see it.
I can't see it.
I know.
Yeah, you,
Well, see,
well,
one
usually
gets
we don't
Tennessee
see
right,
logos this
and the
big.
other one says Island Pond.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but on the-
Okay, I was
on
looking
the-
for a little circle.
It's on the,
What do you
it's
call
on
it?
the helmet on their hat.
Yeah.
The little
Ink
circle with the
blot.
trees. It's supposed to signify the island and the lake, and it was very cool. I mean, it was part of our landworks thing a long
It
time
is
ago.
nice.
And the Brighton Rec one, that is a giant, huge
I love
improvement
that.
in paint off my back because prior to this, we had four separate
different
images
logos.
with
Oh.
different colors and it was constant and that just kind of brands it and really goes to show the different options we have around here.
I
No goal.
noticed a subtle influence with the pickleball person there, Mike.
Yeah.
That actually wasn't,
What are you trying to do there
that,
between you and Joel?
that was not actually what he
Where's my
originally had there
bicycle?
and the
Where's my
committee had it
bicycle?
removed.
Right, where's the bicycle? Where's the?
Well,
we
we're
need-
not known for bicycling. I mean, bicycling is an option, but that is not
Yeah,
something that
we don't have bike
really-
trails.
Yeah, we don't.
I mean,
I don't know
I
where the
was
sun-
actually,
Snowmobiling isn't part of.
Isn't part of the recreation committee.
Yeah.
it's not
So
part
our
of Brighton.
focus is
Not much
outdoor recreation and activities for the kids and indoor recreation for
We gotta make some
Vehicles.
more room on that, Mike, for four-wheelers and snowmobiles.
but they have their own clubs.
Yeah, but this.
Right. They have their own. Brighton
And the
Rec is all
town-
about
Recreation. Yeah,
community recreation.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So if I can segue off of that into not so pleasant news. So Paul Chambers, who used to be the rec director and has run the marathon for the last, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years that we've had it in town, notified Noah and I that he is stepping back and does not want to. He will help out the day of race, but he will not organize the event any longer. So he has left it up to us if we want to take that on. And I'm kind of looking for guidance from the select board if this is something they want us to take on. This is a huge lift. I mean, the number of hours, because we already do Pondathon and I already run all the other events during the summer. So this, to my job, this is going to be full time for 3 months, is going to be nothing but recreation work. And I have to know, is the select board on board with that? And are they going to support it? And, if I'm end up over hours and I have comp time, I don't want to be called on the carpet for it because, there's just a lot of work. This is sponsors and race registrations and all that. So
And Paul did all of that.
he did all of that.
Okay.
As a
Does he
volunteer,
have any
did it for free.
recommendation?
Huh?
Does he have any recommendation that could step in for him?
He's been trying for the last year.
Okay.
So
He told me
Paul-
last year that he wanted to get out of it. And
Yeah.
so he's reached out to everybody and nobody wants to take it on. I mean, it's a beast.
Yeah.
It's 250 runners we had last year that came to town.
Yeah.
It is a huge economic development boost for town, but the town has to be committed to fulfilling that.
Michael, your plate is overflowing.
Oh, I know.
And I can, and I
And I haven't
absolutely
even decided,
commend
even if you guys are in favor of it, I haven't decided if I want to tackle it. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if
And I'm not prepared to ask you to do so either. Wow.
I will say, the recreation committee, we are 4 volunteers.
Right,
Yeah.
Um,
and that's not, yeah.
Paul came to me directly last September and asked me if I would take it over myself, as a volunteer. And on top of all of the other stuff that I have,
Yeah.
I currently cannot commit that capacity.
Yeah.
I personally hate to see this go somewhere.
Yeah. Can we reach out and do a request for an event coordinator for some kind of quote, how much it would cost?
We could.
I don't know. The other thing I was thinking about doing is seeing if I don't know what the deadline is for AmeriCorps, to see if we could get an AmeriCorps volunteer to help
Okay.
with some of this.
That's a good
But the
idea.
trick with AmeriCorps is a lot of times, and we've looked at them in the past, and a lot of times they don't want to come and work in town. They want to be able to do filing for you from Burlington And, we don't have any of those needs.
No, we
What
don't.
we need is somebody who can, do some of the work.
Any idea what the operating cost is on that, Mike?
It
On the
pays for itself.
marathon,
Yeah,
it is self-supporting, but I believe when I looked at his budget, I think it's somewhere in the 20,000 range.
And he did it for free.
Yes.
He did it for free, yes. I mean, that was because
Okay.
he was in charge of the running club. I mean, he created the event when he was the
Yeah.
rec director. And
Would Northwoods? Could we
Is this
contract with
Northwoods?
Northwoods to run it?
That
I
is
don't-
the weekend before their Westmore Mountain Challenge. And that weekend they are typically out flagging
yeah.
and they don't have the capacity.
capacity is an issue for a lot of the groups and clubs around here. I mean, I was on the Northern Forest Center just pulled together a new consortium of towns to work on outdoor recreation economics. And that was kind of, it covered all of northern, the Northeast Kingdom and northern New Hampshire. And so I was on that meeting today with them and the Northeast Kingdom Chamber of Commerce and everybody from the area. And everybody's got the same issue. There's just no capacity. There are no volunteers. There's not even anybody to hire. And so that's what we're all running up against. And
this
so
is
when
the
Paul
4th of July
said this, I
weekend?
really,
No,
September.
September Pond, is that what it is?
No,
Pondathon is Labor Day, and then 2 weeks
is the
later was the
Oh.
marathon.
Usually the third weekend in September. And as far as like the financial end of it, a lot of that fundraising is handled boots on the ground and email, similar to the way that recreation does our stuff. And then the people who sign up, it is a free marathon. However, donations come in from them, but it's coordinating, getting the porta potties here, getting all the cones out, getting all 26 miles worth of signs put out, getting the timers here. It's a lot of the costs are that
The timing
medical
is the huge-
staff. You need medical staff because of a marathon. You need, so you're coordinating volunteer medical staff, ambulance costs, police costs.
so could we get a list or of what it is?
Yeah. I mean, I told him that I wanted to
And
ask you
probably
guys
look
if
at
you were
this-
even interested in committing to that before I even asked.
Well, I would like to,
but
before you what?
before I committed to, making him dig up stuff for me, and
He has that file ready to go.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I'm
it's
sure he
just,
does.
it's just his, yeah, it's just so it gives us an idea, I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe.
Well, that's
we
what I'm
could all-
saying is maybe we can advertise, Mike, before we commit to you doing it, which I really, I'd rather you not, anything else that you have, but maybe we can just reach out and say, hey, look, we absolutely need, like Gene was saying, somebody to step up to the plate based on what it is. And as long as we got a sheet that describes what the,
Right.
what the
I can
requirements
ask
would
Paul
be.
for that. I mean, I told him I was going to talk to you
Right.
guys, but he just sent
Right.
it to me a couple nights ago. So
And then you would still be in the background to help with some of the stuff, but at least you wouldn't bear the full
Right.
load of the whole thing.
some of it I think we could combine with Pondathon because they
Right.
are similar, like
Right.
registrations
Right.
and
Right.
things like that. We did that's something that we did just start this week. So I asked you guys to authorize Brighton Recreation to set up a Square account. So fishing tournament, I actually created our own portal that's going to be going to testing tomorrow because it's ready. So that we can do our own registrations and they can pay through Square and it's all in-house and we are not paying, we're saving 7%. Which is huge. And so I think we could do similar, those things could look very much alike.
And that's why I want the list, because there's some things that we can do, I'm not
As
gonna,
long as this isn't gonna.
I'm not
go
gonna
back to
run.
any of the taxpayers, correct? None.
never does.
Never does?
No,
That's a guarantee, correct?
Yeah.
No, the only thing we need, Mike, is volunteers. I think everything else in town, you know, we need people to.
Well,
do
I understand that, but
That's the
sometimes we
problem.
get caught up having to pay somebody to do things.
Why don't
You
you
know,
let
it's
them
all
know
covered.
this?
Yeah,
In the next meeting, it's not till, I think, January.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all for the thing. Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
it.
in the meantime, we guys, and I'll ask around if anybody's interested in doing it.
I just think it's word of mouth.
Maybe
Yeah,
Northwoods,
sheet of
even
paper.
though
We have
they're
the sheet of
busy the week before, they might know somebody that would do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's
You
right.
know, if you shrink it down a little,
yeah, right.
you know what I
You know, I
mean?
mean, like, you know, I can do something, you know, up comes up, whatever.
Get a big truck,
Get the truck. I have a truck.
big one. Mine's not
And I
big enough.
don't, I haven't heard back. I'm gonna reach out to, so you remember last year, we were supposed to have the race across the Kingdom Heritage Trail. And we did the marketing on that and we scheduled concerts and all that kind of crap to go along with it. And then the flooding happened and we didn't have any of it. It all got canceled. And I don't know if those guys are interested in trying that again. So I'm going to reach out to them to see if, because that's another event that happens in August then. So we would have 3 big races in town, which is, you know, if you're looking at creating an economic development thing for outdoor recreation, that is how you do it.
That's
You
right.
know, it's hosting those big events because that's how we get people to town. But it's tough when we have, you know, 4 people working on it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so, yeah, just get us that
I'll
list.
ask Paul for it and I'll get it to you
We'll-
guys.
Okay, thank you. The Lakeside Park Reserve account.
So that is an account we would like to set up separate, so remaining funds for Lakeside Park go into that account. Whatever's left over.
Okay.
I don't
That's
even
so that
know.
we
I
have
don't
it
even,
for
So-
match. We're using it, we would be using that for match for like the tennis court grant, you know, that's gonna come, you know, if we get that grant, it's gonna require probably a $25,000 match, but in 2026. So if we set up a reserve fund, you know, there's extra money in that line item this year that we didn't spend. And so you just kind of move it in there. It really didn't cost us any more than we were planning for. And by 2026, we would have enough for the match money for that.
Just move the funds from one account to a reserve
Yes.
fund
Right,
account.
right.
We
It just
don't move
becomes,
it
and it's
into a
set up
reserve
to
account.
only.
Yeah.
And
It
it's
goes
set up
away.
for, it
Right.
is set up for Lakeside Park. So if for some reason we didn't get the tennis court, but we could get some other grant, you know, coming, you know, there's always park grants. You know, we always can come up with a new idea for the park.
There's
You know,
no
we could
cost, huh?
use that and we could kind of keep that going forward. It's kind of like we do the truck accounts and all those other things where, you know, anything that's left over at the end of the year, we just throw into that and it accrues over time. And then you have money to do a project
Mhm.
without actually having to try and raise new money.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I make a motion to set up the Lakeside Park Reserve account.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Budget.
So, I hope I actually did this. I was gonna put it up on screen because you guys can actually, if you want to make any changes, we can change them and you can see how it.
I didn't get a copy.
Is there an extra copy of that?
No, that's his.
Oh, this one's yours.
He's gone. Go.
And he's looking for one.
Oh,
This.
do you have one?
I mean, honestly,
all day.
we're gonna look at that on the screen because any changes that are made are
Yeah.
going to go here.
Okay.
What are the orange?
Orange are things we need to go over. They're things that you guys, you know, we look at and we're kind of questioning, is this something that we should modify? Or we have, you know, there's one thing that's in here you guys have to make a decision on. And I'll go over it when we get to it. So the numbers have all been set up in formulas. The only thing that is not 100% accurate on staffing, and your budget line right now is health and life insurance, because I don't have I had to get the life insurance rate from Teresa, and she just got that to me this afternoon. So it's not going to amount. I bet in any line item, it's a couple $100. So, I mean, I can run through this if you want. We can run through at least the orange ones.
That'd be good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So on salt and chloride, um, it's a huge increase, and we, you know, this is just kind of your staff saying, we're looking at, what we've done historically, what the budget is. Is there a reason why we're jumping that line item so much higher?
I think we
Because-
had decided that they were gonna use more salt instead of sand.
They wanted
Because-
to,
Right.
they wanted to move towards salt.
Yeah,
Okay.
because in the spring, it's sand everywhere.
But he
If you
also said
guys-
that the price went up 2 per ton. Was it? I can't recall, but he said it went up substantially, the cost of it. So that was what the.
So
hike
if
is.
you're fine with that line item number, I'll just change it to black, and that's fine. I just want to, when they stand out as being huge increases, I just want to make sure that they're correct and they're
Yeah,
because there is a bottom line we have to reach too.
that's right. Well, right.
Well, I think you have to
You know-
kind of go through all of them and then go back. I mean, this is in an ideal world. We'll switch to salt. This is in an ideal world,
Yes, your budget won't be finalized until sometime in January. Because like actual numbers, those are still changing. Teresa's been working the last few days on, moving stuff around where it needs to be. There's certain items that get moved into reserve accounts and it gets moved out of line items that have been holding it. So you'll see that change around a little bit still. So the other one I asked about was sandstone and seed, and paving, because that's a doubling of the paving budget. And do we have a need to pave something this year? That was
So are we good with the 17.5 for the sandstone and seed? And it's only an increase of almost $500.
$10,000.
it's,
10,000.
column C is what we budgeted. Column D is what we spent. How much of what we spent is attributed to the flooding that we dealt with?
So did Teresa print that out for you guys or not? Because she gave me she broke those out. So it is.
I want to plan for flooding.
I'm gonna say just shy of 11. Let's see, sand and stone. We didn't use seed, so it's $5,000 of that is flooding.
Okay.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, last year we budgeted 8,000. This year we spent 17,000.
And
You said
five of that was
5,000 of
flooding.
which
So
was,
we could put that down to 12.5.
So just so you know that the percentage is a comparison of what you proposed as to what your last year as to what you're proposing this year. That's the increase. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not actual, it's not proposed to actual, it's proposed to proposed.
Mhm.
right, but we bought a lot of sand and seed and stone, well, not seed, but sand and
Because of the
stone. I don't know,
flooding.
why do you put sand and seed and stone together?
Yeah.
Because of flooding. So if the reason we bumped that to 17.5, was
No, wait a minute. I'm looking at the wrong column. So
Okay.
floodings, stone and sand was 11,000, almost $12,000.
Okay.
The actual line item was 5. So we
so
actually.
why are
only
we
spent-
budgeting?
I've lost you.
Me too.
I'm lost.
I'm lost too.
Sandstone, it says here it was 8,000,
7 above.
Yeah, no, 8,000 is what you budgeted.
right?
So with Teresa's breaking out, so we have 11,000 of this 17,000 is attributable to the flooding.
Okay.
So then we spent under 8.
Yeah.
Correct.
So why? couldn't we-
outside of flooding.
Okay.
So we could lower that.
Well, I say we just
That's
keep
about-
it the same as what we budgeted. What it ends up being is you don't plan for floods. You can't do that.
Right, so
No.
budget the 8,000.
But you budget the 8,000 that we had last year and that way you're covered. That's what we're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So we're going
With it
8,000 in there?
With the increase in cost
10,000,
of that, can we go to 10?
10.
It's up to you guys.
10, because we know the costs are going
Right.
up.
Okay, well, better safe than sorry.
And again, it's not permanent. We're gonna have more conversations.
Right.
Yes, I mean, we can always go back and change it again.
Yeah,
Right.
so let's say 10. We'll just say 10.
Okay.
Asphalt pad,
Paving.
paving.
Where are we paving? That we needed
That was all,
30.
that was all the culverts that blew out and
No,
when
no, no,
Andy
no.
was here.
Well, there was a.
But you're,
no,
so
the
you
budget,
actually only
usually we
spent,
put 15,000 in.
right,
no.
and you spent actually 6,000 this year on paving. The rest of that is flooding.
Right.
Yeah.
And was that paving budgeted for this area back here?
I said, the 30,000, I think, was because he was planning on doing the expansion of the parking lot is what he asked for.
Yeah.
Which you can't do.
No, can't do
We
that.
can't do that.
Right.
But the project plan is to resurface this and scoop down behind the building, if I remember correctly. Which I don't remember if we have.
I don't think we, I don't.
I had
Probably the big project, that way it's have to mobilize.
It's a stay mat in the back.
Yeah.
That was just.
I had thought that this triangle area behind here was initially budgeted for paving and that got nixed before it went to the town meeting or something. I thought that's what that 30,000 bump was going to cover.
I think what he was saying,
Mill Street, as I recall, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's where he's talking about is Mill Street.
Yeah.
When he says behind the building, he's pointing at Mill Street.
I thought it was the triangle between Mill Street and
Just a little triangle.
Street, that little triangle right here,
Plus doing.
where your rec,
was gonna
the
do,
door it is to the rec department, that area, I thought that's what was planned to be paved.
I thought that was gonna put stay mat on
Yeah,
it.
I think we all just agreed, yeah, that,
That was
it was to get rid of the mud and everything. And then when they raised those culverts back there, it's been working great, the stay mat, I thought, awesome. Like,
Okay.
so I don't recall the paving talk about that, but we did decide stay mat and it's been perfect.
do we want to leave it at 15 like we budgeted in the past or put it at 30, which is a number?
I don't think 30 is my personal opinion.
20 and split it in case the costs go up. I don't know what our, I
What's
don't
in
know.
the, what do we have in the paving budget now? In
We
the-
have got in the account, we have 16,627.90. So, and whatever is left over
That's
out
the
of this.
reserve account.
That's right, reserve account.
And so, so about a 9,000 is going to go in this. You'll have about 25,000 in the paving account.
We don't
And then-
necessarily have to spend that, Mike, right? Don't we have?
No,
that
we've
budget
always
that
moved we
Oh,
move
thought
it
just
into
putting
the,
5,000 away each year?
That's right.
That's what I thought we talking in here, okay.
right. That 15,000 we normally don't spend until we, accrue 2 years of it.
Enough to put,
That's why I was
Do it.
saying 15. I
So we leave it at 15?
yeah, I think with our budget this year, I
Yeah.
think that we should, yeah,
And then we can always redirect after, but I think for now,
yeah.
Okay. So culvert on your culverts. So you actually only spent 4,000 on culverts. The rest was flooding. 86,000 was flooding of that 90.
So,
I
but
know.
we can keep the, should.
But we still have culverts to replace, correct?
Right. I mean, I don't think you should change that.
No.
It's what not an
It was-
orange because I didn't think you really should change it.
It's,
I
it
think
was- yeah.
when Joel and Noah and I went over it, we felt that was fine to stay
Yeah.
that way. But I did want to go with when you see those big dollar amounts, I just was going to read them off what they actually were. Survey and engineering, that kind of goes by year and project. Bridge and road construction, That's another flooding thing. We actually spent $1,200 and the rest was flooding.
Yeah.
Sidewalks, we always put 5,000 in because it goes into the sidewalk account, which is supposed to go towards the downtown sidewalks, although part of it got used on Pleasant Street. Footbridge, that one, we didn't spend this much this year, but we did spend right at 7,000 last year. And we, when the three of us met earlier today and went over this, there's just a lot of maintenance stuff on the bridge that we're just leery of lowering that and then blowing the budget up on it. Because there's security cameras, there's a heated wire for fire protection and all kinds of stuff on there that need replacing every now and again.
I think the rest of those look fine. We're not really
Yeah.
raising anything. We're just,
No,
Okay.
It's pretty well flat.
we can't get back in the habit of not maintaining our
that's right.
stuff.
We have to
Right.
maintain.
Yes.
And your contracted services, which is another big line item there, you spent actually 16,780 was what was spent out of the budget. The rest was
And the
flooded.
rest is flooding?
Yes.
That makes sense.
I don't know.
Garage.
Can I just ask something? Because it's on my mind when you're talking about, and it's not actually flooding, but when the insurance part of the trees on Bellevue and, Yale Avenue, is that completed yet? And we're
To my
moving,
knowledge, the issue's been resolved. The complainant talked to our attorney. The attorney spoke to the complainant. And as far as I know, things have been settled.
so our insurance covered her?
No,
It's been settled.
been settled. Until they bring it back up.
Oh, they didn't have to.
Is it because it's within the
Right of
easement?
way.
Well, right.
Well, that's what I was.
Right of way or
That's
easement?
what when we were all talking
Okay.
about it,
Yeah.
right away.
It's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
it's a non-issue.
Okay,
All
all
right,
right.
good. Thank you.
Okay. Electricity, that you guys put that number in before, and I think it's fine. Heating fuel, we did modify what you guys had put in the budget the last time because we went and looked up the fuel rate, and we're 94 cents a gallon less than we were last year. And since we only spent 5,000 last year, it didn't seem like we'd want to raise that.
When's
With
that
the
new
rate
tax
being-
going into effect?
Which one?
New
tax.
clean
Clean.
fuel
70
tax.
70 cents a gallon.
Oh,
Thank you very much,
It
Vermont.
would be more than that, $3.
Yeah, but that doesn't, I
potentially.
think that's on the supplier, not on the user.
They're gonna pass it to the user.
They're gonna pass it to the
Not on
user
our contract, they're not. We have a signed
That's true.
contract
Yeah.
for $3 a gallon.
That's
Yep.
right.
for,
That only lasts
Six?
till August, right?
Yep.
Yes,
think
but
it's
the
August.
majority of your
I think
heating
it's ours
costs
is
will be,
August.
January
Okay,
or
all right.
March.
Yeah. So for
Okay.
this year, we're good.
So we're locked in.
I think you're good.
thank you. Good move.
And then we have the energy improvements, the MERP grant that Noah filled out with, it's using ARPA funds. So we were approved for that. It's $500,000 and there's no match for the town. So this
500,000,
Yeah, we got that.
So what do we do?
500,000.
Pretty happy about it.
and that is for,
The energy.
Energy improvements to each of the municipal buildings.
Municipal energy resilience
okay, so it was,
We're 97.
So so the amount out of that
197,000.
that's allocated to the town garage is 67,633.50. And I think we're going to show this in the annual report this year, so people start getting an aha that this is one of those things where town is getting this. It's not, nobody's paying for this. I mean, you are
So-
paying for it, and that it was in your
Yeah.
taxes at some point, but not the town taxes.
right, and we have a plan for it on paper, each individual building and
Yes.
what
Yeah.
we potentially would be spending.
They came in and audited each one
Awesome.
earlier this year in
Okay.
August, I think. July?
Even before.
Okay,
Felt like they were here in July,
They,
August.
they were here 5 different times.
Okay.
The three again, is this building?
The railroad depot and the town garage.
Dale Avenue or Town Garage here?
Town
Yeah,
garage.
yeah.
Huge.
Okay,
Yeah, this is the town garage that we actually use.
No one uses the old town garage. It's just storage.
storage, okay.
Cold storage, very cold.
Okay.
Very warm in the summer.
Telephone.
So telephone, that's the telephone line at the garage, and I still
So-
think that's really expensive. I think we need to figure out something with
Can-
that.
Can I ask a really silly question? Everybody uses cell phones now. Why do we have a landline in the garage? That costs us $1,400 a year?
Power outage.
It's probably the same reason that every business has to have a direct line that is connected to your fire, some fire thing. It has to be a landline. because
Yeah.
Cell phone.
That makes sense.
Backup.
That makes sense.
Not also internet?
What's that?
No, that's
No, no, we
Starlink.
just, you
No,
guys just
Starlink
had
is below.
Just a
Starlink is the
landline.
bottom line.
It's a direct landline. So if your fire, if, for example, if 3 branches goes.
We
up,
have one of those,
you-
yeah.
You have an immediate, the fire department gets that call.
Yeah.
Right. I
Doesn't
mean,
have to be
yeah,
on the
mine was
line,
a
but
switch.
There's a separate line because it's a 911
Yeah.
call.
And
I have a
I don't
set,
I don't
we
know if
have
it's
a fire
$1,400,
system
but I
there.
know it's a lot of money.
yeah.
We
I don't think we have one of those systems at the garage,
It's
do we?
Just, no, it's
No.
just a desk phone,
Yeah.
just like Teresa has.
So we're paying $1,400 just for a desk phone?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why do we even have a desk phone if that's all it is?
And we should look because this.
It's just
this-
that 1,400 is just for the instrument itself.
No, that's
Well,
what
no, the service.
For every
That's
month.
the
Okay, so
service.
it's also a hardwired telephone.
That's right.
line.
Exactly.
Okay, all
But
right.
I guess my question is, does that still include the DSL service they used to have? Because if so, we need to get rid of that and just go to
Yep.
basic, we could basically go to basic 911 service on it and not let it be used for anything else. That should drop that down to about $30 a month.
You don't even need to have a phone connected to have 911 service. You can pick
I
up a
know.
phone that's connected into the wall, as long as it's still connected into the lines, and successfully dial 911 for it.
Emergency.
It's no different than you don't need to have a cell service and you can still dial 911. It works.
Not for my house.
So I'm gonna just leave that in orange. I think we need to do some investigation on that.
Power
before
outages we had last year.
Commit.
Especially if you have.
Or earlier this winter, January, February. I had no cell service.
Purchase that looks good.
Call 911 during,
Yes, I
and it
did.
didn't go through.
Through.
Should report that in.
SOS. I said, okay, I'm good, but I tried 911. But the AT&T tower, I don't believe their backup power is being used.
Oh, that was a different situation.
Yeah. Okay.
This is all about the dump truck, the orange stuff.
The
So-
orange stuff is yes, because if you look at your budget report from Teresa, she might have given you a revised one because she sent it out late this afternoon, but it did have 300 and some odd $1,000 in it.
Thank God.
And we're like, okay,
That's
what
the
did we
plug.
buy?
It's
It's just because she has to account for the dump truck. So, and I did want to go over because I think we should put this in the book this year. So on the dump truck, it cost us $238,169. We did get a $75,000 grant from USDA towards that purchase. We received a loan from the municipal loan fund for $110,000, and that is at 2% interest for 5 years. And then the balance of $53,169 is coming out of our equipment reserve fund. So that's all we actually paid for a new dump truck.
And the payments on that are gonna be 24/2.
Right, that's the payments down here on the dump truck.
Right.
And actually that payment goes down every year. I actually need to put the right number in here because it's 23,9 something or other next year, I think.
Well.
So Mike, the orange numbers in column D for the equipment, is that added into the total at the bottom of the 209,027, or is that just giving us an idea?
No, this is a
It's
total of
deductible.
everything that's in that column. Because the 238, 75, 110, and 53, that should equal 0. Because you're not actually going to expense that because
Right,
you're.
that's what I was
expensing the
wondering.
loan.
Okay,
Right.
okay, thank you.
So you're actually only does 18,658, and of that 16,248 is your actual equipment purchases.
Right,
The other 2,000 was flooding.
so the maintenance and repair is the only one that we need to. And the fuel is the only thing that potentially increased, or line
it's the
line
same.
49?
Budgeting 40 to 40. And
Right.
Right, you guys
The other
were
one we are
budgeting
going up.
40,
And
I
we're
don't know,
okay
do
with that.
we-
That's why I'm asking.
So He's got most.
One accident's all it takes. One equipment breakdown and you've lost $10,000 easily.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have all fairly new equipment, so
Yeah.
knock on woodish.
I'm just wondering, okay, all right.
And I think the 40,000 for the fuel is logical
Yep. 'Cause you
with
never
the
know.
extra charges that are going to be going on that.
Okay.
The other's equipment reserve fund. That's just money that goes into a reserve fund every year.
Yep.
And greater the 54,000, that is your payment. Actually, this should be 54,734.06.
Yeah, it is in the actual.
Yeah, I know. Well, we budgeted 54 last year because we weren't sure what the exact payment was yet.
We need to increase the line.
Which line did we increase?
It's just,
52,
Greater?
line 52. Yeah, because the payment is.
it's 54,734.06.
Oh,
Right.
right.
You
You
just
need to
add
add $734.06 to it.
Makes sense. Maybe that 700 goes down on the, no, we only.
Yeah, it
lost
probably goes
400,
down on the, it's probably gonna be a not wash because the dump truck payment goes down.
Right?
Right.
So 20%.
So there's your totals for the road department.
This could be about your last business, all right?
We just need
Yep.
to do pay orders and approve minutes. That's it. This is gonna be our last thing.
I'm not taking notes on this, because it's gonna change.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's no vote on this
This is
tonight.
all gonna
This is
change.
working. This is the first official kind of go through of a combined, everything's in the budget.
Yeah, I want to get something closer to the end result. Otherwise, people are gonna say, well, I thought this or that.
Thank you.
Actually,
Have a good night.
Thank you.
yeah. Have a good night.
Take care.
So nothing has really changed in the clerk and treasurer. That's all same.
Yep.
Nothing we can do.
Sheriff Department used less, right? And that was,
Yeah.
when he came,
Yeah.
he said he just couldn't staff. I mean, the bottom line is he doesn't have the people nor the wherewithal. And he said he'd be okay with us lowering his budget. That was just based on him sitting back here saying, I can't see myself being able to do more.
So we were at 20 hours a week at one point, correct? That's what we originally had.
While back.
And then
Yeah,
there
wow.
were some things that occurred in town and there was a series of meetings with the sheriff and
So
open
we
to
went to
public
40 hours.
where there was questions and concerns about criminal activities and things that were going on. And it was requested to increase that to 40 hours. That's where the new number came about. And Trevor does whatever he can to get as close to that as possible.
So I think we should keep it the way it is, because you never know.
I mean, we're at 78,000 right now.
Right, so.
Yeah, I mean, and I
You're
think our
talking about-
contract says that amount in it. It's just, what he's saying is he's not billing us the other 20,000 he didn't provide.
Now, the other thing to keep in mind is when the year that we switched from having our own to having the sheriff's department, especially in light of the recent events that happened in St. Johnsbury, our insurance rates for the town dropped dramatically because we no longer actually have the officer on our payroll. Like they're not actually our employee, we contract. So even though that number looks pretty big, when we start talking about insurance, if you have an officer get shot, that's a small number to not be on our insurance.
Well, and that's with any contracted service.
Yep.
Because you don't pay
Yeah.
their insurance, which insurance is,
But it was not just health insurance. It was like our
well,
town's
yes, exactly.
liability
Yeah.
insurance.
And so the rest of this line item, the equipment repair and purchase, I'm not quite sure what that is. I'm going to ask Teresa to make sure it's actually something that should be under the sheriff's department. It just seems odd.
Yeah, I think it's
In this
fair.
year's, and I wouldn't budget anything for it next year.
Is the phone in there, the phone they have to have hooked up for the DUI machine?
So there's a fax machine there, from what I understand, but
Over here in the office.
Yes.
yeah. And so we're gonna find another solution to that and talk with Trevor to see if we can get that lowered or, you know.
Oh,
because
he has to use the fax, right? Did he say that?
He has to use that for the,
Right.
But there has to be an alternative because that's, you know, $3,430, 31 cents.
or he needs to include it in
Or we could include.
our 78,000 that we pay him, 98,000.
No, the thing
Well,
is,
just
our
keep it-
cameras, that's also for the internet over there.
Oh,
And
that's true.
so, and our camera system is tied to that. So, you know, the
Okay.
town uses it as well. But there is a way for us to share our internet's connection between town hall and the depot. And we're going to look into doing that, because if we could do that and get Trevor maybe as an automated scanner where he could do a, you know, fax to, you know, scan to fax service, it would save a, you know, $3,430. Because it's crappy internet over there anyway.
So are we keeping it at 2,500 for now?
Yeah, we'll leave,
yeah.
I'm gonna leave it orange because we're gonna work on that before you guys finalize the budget. To see if we can come up with a better solution.
So why didn't we have to pay for rubbish last year? Oh, no. Yeah, rubbish removal.
Because it's changed. Because our room rubbish is we no longer have a
Okay, sorry.
dumpster
Oh, we
behind
have a-
here.
Okay.
We send it down there and then it gets lumped in with those other ones.
Okay, Yep.
So if we've kept fairly level, I mean, it went up $1,500 on electricity. I see it's here in orange. I know that VEC announced the 3% increase, but then we have those credits coming in.
Yep.
So 7,500 is where we think it'll land.
Yep.
Okay.
And I think that's a safe. I mean, if it went over even a few hundred, it's not gonna amount to a lot.
Now, a really stupid question. How many meters are there on this building?
I think there's what, 4?
It's 4 or 5. I think it's 5, if I'm not
I have to
mistaken.
just go around back there.
On this building?
Yeah.
Yes.
And separately metered are the bank,
Seven.
library?
Probably.
Yeah.
Where do the other ones go to? And do our leasing facilities have separately metered services? Just
Some
wondering.
and some do, some don't.
But each of our leases, we always include in electricity amount that the tenant is responsible for, and we put that in the total amount of the lease.
Okay.
We always include that in there, and we adjust, actually in January is when I typically go through all the leases, and I look at any adjustments such as electricity, heating, all that, and we make our plan.
So we do charge for the meter.
We need to make sure
It's in
that
here, yes.
I know they paid electricity, but you also add the meter charge to the bill.
There's only 2 meters in the railroad depot. We
No,
can't,
but I
Wrong
mean,
municipal building.
we all pay for a meter charge. I just didn't realize if we were putting that towards our occupants that are.
we estimate, in the past, we've estimated what people use in their facilities, like NECA uses refrigerators and things, and we've actually estimated the wattage and charged accordingly. I'm not sure what Noah's doing now, but probably something similar.
that's what I want to make
What
sure
I'm
of.
saying, Joel, is when I give my tenants their light bills, there's a meter charge of $35 or $24, whether it be residential or commercial, and I add that to their light bill. I was just wondering if we do the same here.
Yes,
We do charge them for okay, thank you.
Whatever the increase is for the year.
And say, if they're not separately metered, which is what you guys just expressed, the renters don't have individual dedicated to their own space, which means you're not directly handing them an equivalent bill. I would just make sure that those that are sucking the electricity dry are getting properly charged.
Yep.
Yeah, you leave your air conditioner on in the winter. You'd be paying for it.
Heating fuel, we did the same thing. We kept it at the same budget amount from 2024 because of the lower rate.
Okay.
This building has the biggest energy improvements because we're looking at doing split units for heating and air conditioning in the offices so that we could actually turn down the heating system for the rest of the building that costs a fortune to heat. There's really no reason why the hallways and the entryway needs to be 74 degrees. You know, if somebody's cold in their office, they can kick up their little electric unit and keep it
Close
at
the door.
74 degrees. Yeah.
Auto thermostats, the whole nine.
We should see the following year, we should see a reduction in our heating fuel usage. Water and sewer are in orange because I need to verify that the correct rates are being charged to the correct buildings. Because these amounts under the actual for 2024 don't line up on all buildings. So I just want to make sure that that gets fixed. Rubbish removal, you guys talked about. Are we keeping a budget amount in here or are we not?
Okay.
Yeah, why would we
What-
keep it in there?
Let's follow up on that.
Okay.
I don't see why we have to. If it's down there, we could relocate it if needed.
Staff.
What are we talking about?
The rubbish removal.
Line
25.
item.
Are we not paying,
We're questioning it. I guess, right?
where does
Is it there or are we taking it out?
So the 8-yard dumpster that was here is down there, so the total cost has never changed, but we just want to make sure we're putting it in the right spot.
I see.
So it's not rubbish removal for the municipal building, you know, it's
Yeah.
the town.
Okay.
Building maintenance, I did update this number with what Teresa gave me today, and it was the gym floor is what jacked that number up. Because the gym floor was $8,373.
And that's just
Coding.
Coding.
That's just
coding.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
What? Well, I don't want to dive, we should finish this, but Mike, as a thought piece, I would like to get with you. What would it cost and can we get a grant to really just fix the floor once and for all so that we're not paying this amount of money every year? In other words, can we look at a 4-year plan to fix the floor completely, make it right? Can we? And just think,
Let's have Joel discuss that because we were just discussing this earlier today.
it just seems to, go ahead.
Ran into this in my town and
I don't think there's.
Hey,
oh, I'm
hang
sorry,
on,
go
Joel.
ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
what I'm understanding is I think what they do is they sand it, right? And then they paint it again, but you only can sand it so many times
That's right.
before you get to the nail.
Right. And that's,
Yeah, and the paint.
I
So-
understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so we're just putting lipstick on a,
Some kind of money you could tuck away every year, so when that needs to be refinished. it's there.
you're taking.
I think with the amount of use that we have on that floor and stuff, it might be something worthwhile that we can look into for the future.
So you looked in,
Yeah, Joel.
Joel, go ahead.
I don't think there's a thing you can do to that floor that's gonna last 4 years.
No, what I'm saying is
So
completely replace it, Joel.
one of the basketball
The
coaches.
VersaCord thing, Joel.
The
One of
Versa,
the-
oh
one of
yeah.
the-
you had brought that up.
Third
What?
solution.
One of the basketball coaches suggested that we look into replacing the hardwood floor with poured rubber. Poured rubber is a modern. I remember that Orleans put that into the grade school gymnasium when they rebuilt it, and I was in 3rd grade. And the floor just needs to be cleaned. That's it. You
It
don't,
must be harder to clean that floor.
well, those little machines.
Yeah.
They put a.
But
Oh.
when you first get on it, it is brutal to learn how to adapt from hardwood to poured rubber. And it is obscenely expensive.
Yeah, I guess all I'm saying
Right,
is
it's something,
Well,
okay,
we need to consider for the future.
that's
I
right.
think what Joel had brought up, because when he was doing the work on the tennis and pickleball courts, they make a similar flooring system for indoor basketball courts.
The
Which is what they had in
15
IROC. That's what they had in
And-
IROC.
Still there.
So, I did think,
Yeah.
that's something we should look into as I would rather make this a payment on a new floor that's going to last for 20 years
Right,
That's what
as
I'm getting
opposed
at.
to this 2 years. And after the first year, they complain the whole second year, and then we refinish it and they like it for a year, and then they complain by the end of the year and we start all over again.
One
I
thing
I would say, when I looked into that and I saw the video and I heard the video, the sound of a basketball bouncing on this surface is a totally different thing than the sound of a basketball bouncing on a wooden surface. Don't know if I could handle it, really.
Soundproof the room.
I would just caution the board, there's a lot of stakeholders that use that facility. I know some of them are going to be okay with it, but I can assure you, you will meet some resistance. I know we're playing for the future and that's our goal, but as we consider that, just consider those stakeholders, bring them in, just say, hey, what do you think? Just as we go along.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely was not.
Yeah,
no, it was just,
closing it out.
We're not going forward with that now.
No.
Right, we'll put
No,
the,
we're
put the money aside,
yeah, yeah.
but
I know,
start
but
talking about
I know they
options.
watch the videos here and I don't call.
Oh, and actually, we could do that next year. So next year, we just need to make a note. You'll need to create a reserve account for the gym upkeep. Because if you're going to put that $4,500 into the budget, I don't think you're planning to refinish the floor again next year. So
Nope.
I think the idea was that you were going to save for
7,000,
2 years. So you'll have to create a reserve fund so that 4,500 gets put away.
What you want.
Some cemetery funds.
Oh, because. Oh. Okay, so it went here within,
Yeah, we just created that.
Yeah.
We're gonna take care of it. We should
okay.
have a place for it.
Okay.
Railroad Depot.
Yeah, railroad station.
Yep, railroad station. So that one has $150,000 in improvements that's paid for by a $150,000 grant. I've got water and sewer highlighted because I need to go back and verify
Okay.
those.
Yep.
So just those dollar amounts are kind of questioned right now because you have to.
They're
go back and verify.
questionable because we had in the budget 600 and 800, and then we have 1,900 and 2,300 we paid, and we're budgeting 1,000 and 1,500. So something is wrong somewhere. So
Okay.
I'll bring that to our next meeting. We'll have that.
Okay.
And for Noah and Joel, who we questioned this earlier, the rescue squad contract, why is that number not the same? And that is because we paid Rick as an EMT. He acts as a first responder on occasion. And so there was $30,750 to him. That's why it's not 69,706. For the
We pay Rick Hennix.
Yes, he is an EMT, and so when there's a car accident or whatever, he'll be first on scene because he's in town, and so he turns in EMT hours, and the town has always reimbursed him for that
Okay.
because it's outside of his job.
It's kind of like a jump squad.
Yeah,
Similarly.
you're right. It's kind of a not official
That's-
one, a lot cheaper.
Right.
Way less money.
It's only if you use it.
Right.
Exactly.
Right, and I guess we must have used it for something this year.
There
We
was
have the,
a fire department.
And most of that, this one we wanted to look at the telephone. Okay, 4,000 is already a lot for a telephone at the fire department, and we went over that budget by $2,000. And
I don't remember him talking about it when he came.
And so we, I
I don't remember.
sometimes some of this, we need to make sure that just something isn't in the wrong line item too.
Right.
Could that also be the internet included?
That is the internet included. They have Comcast there. And
They
so,
also have cable there.
yes, they do.
Yeah.
It's left over from when we used to have the ambulance there, but supposedly Teresa and them looked into just getting rid of the TV and keeping internet in the phone, and it was cheaper to keep all three. I
To
think we
go
need to
up.
look into that. It just seems like a lot of money for a phone line for,
Right,
it's
so-
not people
Yeah,
there
because-
most of the time.
Depending how long that contract with whatever it is, can you do the agreements, whatever with the phone? with
Yeah,
a
it might have
bundle
just
of them?
escalated.
It might have just gone up and now it might be cheaper to drop the cable and, just, yeah.
I had to do that with the Welcome Center. We had a contract with them that started at, $69 a month for internet service, and all of a sudden it was $150. And so I called them and I said, cancel it. And we went round and round and round, and ultimately they came back where it, $69 a month again.
Okay.
On equipment purchase, I just want to make sure that this is a correct number. The 23,000. We just need to make sure that that's right, and it actually belongs to the fire department.
Oh, yeah. What did they buy?
Yeah, well, it's just that we don't know what they bought. So,
Not a
and
boat, but it wasn't
that's
that
why we
much.
always verify those.
Oh,
They
right.
did buy turnout gear, but even that's questionable amount.
Okay, so we're gonna,
So we'll verify.
yep.
Turnouts 15 to,
It can be very.
2,500 a person
Yeah.
minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's if it is what it is, but the thing is that also I think they have a reserve fund, and maybe that's why that number is off, because Teresa
Yeah.
hasn't moved the money out of the reserve fund.
I remember talking to Rick about that when he was looking to purchase some things.
And these orange numbers that are down there below, those were the ones that Rick had come and asked for, correct?
Below,
I don't know. We're wondering about maintenance and repair on the building, because I'm like, what does the building need that we're jumping that $1,500? Because it's got a new heater, it's got a new furnace, it's got a new generator. I'm not sure what we need.
My notes at home.
And say, I left my backpack full of notes at home.
He asked for an increase
He asked for that increase.
on both of
I'll
those
just leave it
line
orange
items.
and we can revisit it.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, there was a specific request he was asking for.
Yeah.
and equipment maintenance, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not even sure. Well, I guess we highlighted it because we only spent 5 of the 7,500, and why are we going up to 8? But maybe there's a reason for it.
Bless you.
thank you.
And the rest of those, I think, were, unless you guys have anything, I think they were fine. The communications tower. So I'm going to ask Teresa about this, because Noah went and looked up the contract that says 4,400 a year, but Teresa's reporting that we spent 9,130 on it. And I just want to make sure that, is it 4,400 every 6 months and not a year? And that's why it's 9,130. I don't know. I want to verify this.
So Mike, with the library service, I hate to go back, line 150. Looks like there's an increase there.
That
yeah,
was
we
the
gave you that
increase the
$3,000,
library
The other,
requested.
that $3,000 they requested.
it's the
remember?
other direction.
The other direction. Oh, okay.
She had asked for 3K.
We're not there. We're not there yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they're skipping over maintenance because there's really nothing in there that they
Yeah,
can
there's-
change.
My question, I do have a question on the maintenance though. Why? Because all of the other departments pretty much, the wages are separate, but our tractor's sitting in the middle of that. It just seems weird that sometimes the equipment is separated and sometimes not. Just saying.
I guess because that's considered the maintenance department, it's not, it's a little like, that's the only thing that's not, it's not like the roads where there's lots of different things that you're buying, so you break them out by category.
Yeah, it's one piece.
Makes sense.
It's just kind of specific to the maintenance department. And we did look that up, and I think we have after, I think it's, what did I tell you, Noah? 29, I think is when it's
Yeah.
paid off.
That's correct.
Can you fix the typo in cell 153A?
153. Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Every time I see
Library-
this, it drives me nuts.
It does.
Yes, library service, you guys.
One-
approved
Typo
that.
on 153A.
So, yeah, can't, there's nothing we can do about that.
And so, underneath my area, so the water and sewer board approved 45,000 as a reimbursement to the town for my salary for next year.
Okay, so
Where are you?
he's under economic.
Rec and economic development.
I see, okay.
You know, I'm a department of one.
You'll see the same for Joel on 172.
Joel is the next one down, and they authorized 25,000 towards his salary for next year. For the many, 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 many hours that we spend on water and sewer.
Mike, is there a way we can work on the mileage aspect? That seems to be,
That's because there's at least 2 to 3 trips a year that I make up that you guys, I can't turn into a grant. It's not economic development. It's work that the town needs that I have to come up for. And so that's why we have to put something in the budget for that. Because the town's going to have to pay it. It's not optional for the, you know, like the forum pays for all of my travel 90% of the time. But there are occasions where I'm representing the town at something, or I'm doing something for the town where I have to be there. Like I had to come up for the zoning thing. And so there's a cost and that has to be paid for somewhere.
yeah.
Well, it's $250.
But you save, well, what I can tell you is you're saving it. You know, I don't take a health plan. So instead of $25,000 a year for my health plan, you're paying $7,200.
It's not enough, this line.
Oh, 12. Oh. Oh, equipment. I said mileage.
No, he said mileage.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have equipment. The town doesn't buy my
But this,
equipment. I buy
this
my own.
mileage.
I was
Oh,
on the wrong
I was
guy.
at town, no, because I was already at Joel's there. Okay.
I mean,
Okay, I get it. All right.
So how do we keep track of that, Mike? And I'm not trying to put you on. But I know for my business, if I have a vehicle with my business, I have to keep track of the mileage, you know, through
I
an app.
turn in an expense report for it.
Yeah.
Expense report goes in and it lists the mileage that I drive back and forth and any mileage I drive while I'm there and any costs that go with that.
Okay.
a lot of the time his rooms are actually given to him.
My rooms, you know, the town gets off real. I mean, the town doesn't pay for my lodging most of the time. You know, the forum does. And so
And that
and
they're done at
thank-
cut rates.
Yeah.
yes. I mean, we have Craig to thank for that at the Brighton Garage. He does give
Lodging isn't
me
even in here,
$300
so-
a week.
That's because that usually falls on the forum.
So lodging's not here, so.
Right, and say it's not even a valid
So that's
discussion.
another savings.
Okay.
All right. Oof. I know, Joel, $3,400.
I know. And 1,200 of that, he needs a new computer because his is literally put together with tape and bubble gum.
Yeah.
Where are you? Oh, I know where you're at now.
Total.
We did everybody's wages this year. What'd you figure on for cost of living?
So
Well-
looking at it, it's,
So I did this little thing. So you guys are proposing 2%. Historically, the town has never done less than 3. Social Security is 2.5 this year, and the current rate of inflation is 2.7.
The state paid what, 3.8?
Yes, the state did 3.8.
Unfortunately, the feds are paying, I think, 2.5. But there comes a time, just as we went through the pandemic, where everybody had to pay the fiddler on raises and a lot of things like that. And being this year troublesome with our budget, excuse me, and the monies that we owe with all the flooding and everything, I think that we all need to think about just cutting down that our cost of living for 1 year till we get through this crisis. That would be a substantial amount. And if you really don't want to do anything about that, we can wait in case the budget gets refused at the town meeting, and then that's where we can look at first.
Well, I have it
But I
set up
believe
so we
cost
can
of living-
actually, if you want, we can plug in different rates and you can see how it affects the bottom line.
I say, I'm gonna let you finish your sentence.
No,
and
go
then I'll
ahead,
make the
go ahead,
statement.
Heather.
There are a number of factors out there that impact the wage line. And we need to be aware of what they depending on what happens with the union situation, remember that the remaining town employees also have the option to join that after it's finalized. In which case we will have very little control over that line, that very small portion of the budget. That's just what I'm gonna leave it there.
You also, just from a managerial standpoint, right? You've got a union, and let's be honest, they're going to get something, right? And then you have those who are non-union, right? And if you want to stay competitive, you will. It's just a matter of fact. You have to increase, right? If you're not staying competitive and you're behind the 8 ball, you have employees who are going to say, well, they got this, I want this. So they have 2 options, right? They can leave and find another job, or they'll join the union. In which case, then you have no control over that line. That's kind of the line of thinking I'm at of. It's complex. It's not a one size fits all by any means, and it is tough.
And
but
what is,
I don't think you want to get behind COLA at a minimum, is what I'm trying to say.
And I don't think, especially my personal opinion, road crew salary is not competitive.
No.
It's less than competitive.
It's about, I can tell you, I looked it up because I would have, if
I
they
looked
hadn't
at
done
those
the union, I
reports
would
too.
have come to you guys this year about it, because we always get the VLCT wage study every year. And our road department is about $3 an hour low over what the average is in the state. I mean, we went through this a few years back with Teresa's salary. She was drastically underpaid compared to every other town clerk and treasurer in the state. And so we had to do, a substantial raise for her. We did it over 2 years, so it wasn't such a hit to the budget. But I do recall us having to do that because, just over time, cost of living doesn't necessarily keep up with the marketplace. And so, yeah, I did look up the road department, and the average in the state is somewhere in the $25 an hour range, and we're at 22 right now.
So, Mike, does that include their health insurance?
Pretty much all the municipalities offer the same health insurance that we do. They offer the same retirement that we do. It's about,
They pay their full insurance?
yes, they do.
when I looked at them, what I saw were some were paying employee at 100%, but families were less than 100%. So they had co-pays along with that when I looked at that report. But I mean, that is a factor, but We can't do anything right now
That's
with
right. That's-
those wages anyway. But my curiosity is we tallied up, if you ran a formula to each one, like, what are we talking about the difference between a 2% increase, 3% increase, 4% increase? Like, what happens? What is the total bottom line when you increase from wages from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4%?
We kind of,
I figured out why the budget was looking so bad. I forgot to add this in because we're coming up to the question you guys have to decide on. So when it comes to listing services, if you see any of Teresa's reports, it's going to show like $62,000 on the line item. 21 of that,
what line?
line 195, listing services. I broke it out. I went ahead and broke it out already. So 41,501 of that is the reappraisal cost for this year. So we get money from the state every year towards a reappraisal, and we have a reserve fund for that. And so our reserve fund has, well, actually, I can tell you the total reappraisal cost is 122,000 and change. We have currently about $90,000 in the reserve account, and we will get another 10,000 next year from the state by mid-year. So it should be before that this appraisal is, or reappraisal is finished. Which leaves us, we need to raise about $25,000 to finish paying off the reappraisal. It's not optional. So, but we could do it one of two ways. The select board can decide which year do you want to put that $25,000 into. Do you want to expense it out this year and be done with that? Or do you want to completely reimburse the reappraisal cost this year out of the reserve fund and then add 25,000 to your budget next year?
Neither one of those sound like good
at
options.
this point, you could even do half and half if you wanted.
When you're talking about the 2026 budget, adding 25 to the 2026, budget?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's an easier pill. To
No, the
I thought you
2025
meant
budget.
like-
No. No, you're working on the 2025 budget.
Right.
When you said to expense it this year, meaning
This year in 2024.
20,
It's like paying now in December.
right,
or add 25,000 to the 2025 budget?
yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, now,
Because this reappraisal will be finished next year. So we will be paying it all off between this year and next year.
You want to pay now?
I say pay now.
Yeah, because a lot of our overages
Yeah,
are coming out of reimbursables.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, what's the downside of paying it now out of the reserve fund?
There is really it's just, where do you want to show it? It's the same dollar amount either way. It's just, how do you want to show it?
I think you're right. I think we pay it this year. That way our budget looks better next year.
Yeah, I
So we
agree.
budgeted for it last year.
Teresa?
Okay.
Okay, so basically we will take 16,500, and I'll fix the dollar amount because I don't think that's an exact correct amount, but it'll be close to this. We'll take 16,000 out of the reserve account because we've already spent 41 this year on the reappraisal. So 25 of it you guys will pay for, and the remaining 16 will take out of the reserve fund.
Okay.
And then all of next year's will come out of the reserve fund.
Okay, so Mike, on 193 with the selectmen, I don't know if you were privy to the conversation last meeting, but there was asked about, now that we have 5 board members, do we increase the amount of stuff? And I said, take my name off the list. Like, I don't know if
But
that
you
can
can't
be.
do that.
You can't do that.
because you're up for reelection. You know, the
Well,
thing is, you have
Unless
to,
well, I have to put a petition in, but if I don't put a petition in, I'm not up for reelection, right?
Your position
your
expires in
position
March
is, you
regardless.
have to. I mean, somebody has to. I mean, the thing is,
You ran
you're
for a
cutting this
one-year
for
term.
any future. It's not like it's just you. It's
So you're-
any future person that's on board.
Right, okay,
Want
yes. Yeah, because it has to go there.
If you choose to donate it back, you choose to donate it back.
But it still has to stay there.
It still has.
As a position,
That's
not the
right.
person.
That's right.
Correct.
Okay, I understand. Okay.
Okay, can we keep it at, I mean, we're at 90, we've actually spent 95.5.
That's because
Yeah, because we
that's
didn't
because
have a
you guys
select board.
didn't start in January.
Yeah, we had a
Yeah.
3-person board,
I see.
and then we went to a 5.
So it would be,
It would have been
it would be
12,000.
12. There's no increase here in stipend. It's just, that's what the math does.
That's
for
right.
5 board members.
That's
Okay,
right.
all right.
Correct.
Okay.
And listers over here is in orange because we're going to look into, so we only have one lister and we can't seem to get a local, anybody that wants to be a lister in town. So we're going to look into what is required. It would go to a vote at town meeting day just to eliminate the local board of listers and just contract that out. So we would hire somebody. I mean, we would hire probably who does our listing services, but
Would the cost
there
be
isn't
the
really
same?
much because they do all the work already. We're just kind of paying somebody to be there for a hearing.
What's the increase? The increase.
What increase? I mean, if we got rid of, I mean, if we would,
If we hired
We-
out, if we add it to the listing services, what is the listing services gonna charge us for that?
we don't, that's why it's just highlighted for us to investigate. I just wanted to tell you why we were investigating it, to see if it's something we should think about. Because we can't, the problem is we always have to try and appoint somebody at the last second to be there for the, grievance hearings. Well, that's going to be an issue this coming year with the reappraisal. Once the
And everybody
reappraisal go
wants
out,
to
you're going to
grieve.
you have to have a minimum of 2. And we only have 1. Our last second person passed away 2 years ago.
It's a job beyond the capacity of most lay people at this point.
So you'll have the figures all if you're gonna ask at town meeting?
That's
Oh,
what he
yeah.
said. He
That's what he
started off and was gonna get what the cost would be.
Yeah.
And to see what's required, is it something, how difficult is it for us to do that? We wouldn't do anything that's going to add $10,000 to the budget for that. But I can tell you this line item is going to hit 2,000 or more if we're just appointing local people, because there's going to be a ton of grievance hearings when people get their tax bills. Well, that grievance hearing from our listing people is already included in our $122,000 fee. I just read the contract earlier tonight.
That's a good thing.
Okay. So the general insurance is the next orange one, Mike.
Yep.
208.
Yes. 209.
No,
That's-
that's
Oh,
what
it's
it was.
208 on here. It says 209 online. Sorry. Yes, I added a line up above earlier.
That's
Um,
because of insurance cost increase?
There is an
It is.
increase, and this doesn't need to be orange anymore because we did get this is the current rate, and we took out because water and sewer pays a percentage of it, and we took that out. So this is the correct number.
Okay.
Tax map.
Why so much for tax mapping? Is that having to do with the reappraisal as well?
That's a question we're going to investigate because we don't know why that's $12,000.
Is that the software?
It's a contract we have with the mapping people, and I don't understand
Okay.
why we went from 5,300 to 12,000. So we need to look at the contract to see what it is that we're paying for.
All right.
So that's under investigation.
Right.
And so you can see Lakeside Park. So we actually spent 15,000 out of the 35. So 20 of that is going to go into the reserve fund that you guys just set up.
But we just what?
You set it up.
You
made the
set up
motion.
that reserve fund earlier. You guys approved the reserve
Oh,
fund. for
okay,
Lakeside
under the
Park.
general fund. Thank you.
Before we even got to that.
I know, it was about 2.5 hours ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to executive session.
Okay.
County
The
tax.
downtown engineering map.
We don't get
I
to
need
control
get-
that.
actually,
Yeah,
Um,
long-term debt.
this
is
one,
what it
I
is.
need to, I need to talk to Teresa to make sure that actually gets moved where it belongs, because that has not been moved, because we didn't spend it this year, but we're going to at some point in the future, and there is a reserve fund set up for that.
You're talking about 214, the downtown engineering map?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, correct. It's just not been, she moves all those things at the end of the year, and that one has not been moved. So I'll just make sure that she remembers it. County tax, we bumped that to 65 because it was 63 this year. Last year we had budgeted 45 and it was and it came in at 50 and 23. So they just keep getting a pay raise. Long-term debt, this number means nothing at this point. It will be whatever Teresa comes up with at the close of the end of the year.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be delinquent taxes and uncollected funds.
Okay.
And right now, when I talked to her, she said we had about 300,000 in delinquent taxes alone. So
Okay.
And you should be aware that Lucy, this is her last year as the delinquent tax collector.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anybody's interested, let me know. Statutorily, if we don't have someone, I end up doing it.
With that.
It's a really.
Not a job.
job.
Do they have to be a resident to be a tax collector?
I is in that elected position, so I think so.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not
That's one of
appointed,
those
it's
things that
elected.
there might be really good people out there. They're darn good at it. Bulldogs.
Lucy, I mean, I can tell you, Lucy's been a good delinquent tax collector. She
Yeah.
What's
is
the,
hardcore. She never lets it sit.
what is the sticker program?
That's the sticker money revenue from the trash stickers.
Yes, that's
Oh.
trash. I got that from Teresa this afternoon, how much revenue came in. That's how much
Oh,
we
that's
made
nice.
on selling stickers for garbage bags.
So
The goal was break even.
I'm gonna pause for a second on that and say that we spent $14,991.12 on trash. We brought in $11,730 in trash, but because that doesn't look like we broke even right there. But when you calculate out that we used to have a line where we paid for our own trash, and that
We
line was
used to
bigger than
spend
that,
$10,000 a year.
Right,
So you're
right.
actually spending three. So,
Yeah,
or not even three.
that's
So,
It's a good deal.
That's not all trash because isn't some of that 14,000
yes,
pickup fees for recycling, the stump dump attendant?
right. Those are all included in that, which has always cost us about $10,000 a year. So
so the tickets ticked.
Answer to this one quick question, in the metal bins, I know they haul that away too, but does the hauler get the revenue or do we from the scrap metal?
I
Pretty sure they get it.
The
Said,
deal-
I don't think
the
they
deal-
charge.
The deal we've always had is that if we make sure that the scrap metal is not picked through and cherry picked by people at the nighttime, then the roll off is free. But other than that, it was $75. So,
Okay.
but yeah, the guy gets the scrap.
Okay.
I mean, it's no different than, the recyclable cans. You go home with the employee that's there, so.
So where
I
are we at
mean-
now?
So the
Because
rest of this
we went
is
through
pretty
this.
much appropriations. There's really nothing that's changing on any of the rest of this.
I think we went through these last,
did.
last meeting.
Why is VLCT, we've spent, of the budgeted 3,000, we've spent 265, we're projecting 3,000 again. Is it we haven't
I'm-
paid the bill yet?
I'm guessing. That would be my guess.
All right,
You will spend 3,000.
They probably send their bill with their end of the year report, and so it probably hasn't come in yet, or she's just got it.
So Mike, 229 health. Oh, is wrong there as well.
What was that? Oh,
229 home health. The spelling on health.
well, so is any.
Yeah, NKE too. What's an NKE?
Hey, blame Noah for this. He typed these, not me.
Yeah.
Well, just go right above it there, Mike. 230 health services is wrong. It's,
I already did that. It's 229.
okay, but I'm
And
sorry.
that's one we just did.
No, there's another one. I'm
No,
sorry.
these
There's
came-
another one.
It's a service.
Dadgummit. 220.
Oh, office
Oh,
equipment
220.
and
Just
Yeah.
run a spell check before the end of the day.
maintenance.
Uh,
Maintenance. Okay,
So it's saying, what are you questioning on that one?
that's just the spelling.
it's
Oh.
just,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now we're. becoming-
Sometimes 3 hours into a meeting, get a little punch
Yeah,
drunk.
it's like, it's,
That is another line item. You probably saw in orange, office equipment and maintenance. We're gonna figure out what's in there because
Yeah.
something doesn't seem right there either.
What I'm
What's the
questioning,
bottom line?
no, I have
Bottom
a
line.
question.
Hold on, hold on. Annie has a question.
Not last year, but the year before, we didn't approve the farm to school, that $1,000.
Yes,
But
you did.
last year we did, but the year before we didn't. The year before we didn't.
The first
They
year
didn't
it came
approve
up,
the year
it
before.
approved.
No, I'm not talking about last year it was approved the year before. So was that 22?
23.
Okay. Okay, 23. So I'm saying is, if that comes up, do you have to bring it up at the annual meeting, or is that something that you just say? Because somebody can say, we don't want it, and you vote on it at the meeting.
Correct.
And maybe you were there that time.
I was the moderator, so
Do you
it-
remember that one?
I do. I
Well,
do.
And Erin even said something, I mean, she was talking about a lot of this stuff, but not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was one that we approved because nobody said anything this year.
Right, and that it comes down to the voters.
Right.
Any of these lines here, we have to put onto a floor vote.
Right.
Every single one has to be.
So you have to bring it up.
No, these can go individually.
If we want to get rid of them.
Somebody has to
Right,
say
but if you're
something.
gonna get rid of them, do you have to petition? They had to petition to get on. Do you have to petition to remove them?
No, we just voted.
No, I think it just needs.
I
to be
don't think
brought
so.
up.
I
Just
believe
voted.
that they can bring it up at town meeting day.
Yeah,
And if enough people that's there, they can remove it.
Exactly.
That's right.
I
It's like
asked
they can
about that
increase the line
last
item.
year.
Yeah.
And was not told that we could do
Yeah.
it that way. I was told I had to petition, but because I'm on the board, I couldn't start the petition.
yeah.
It's a conflict.
So it is gonna come up again.
No, I asked last year.
It says they
I
go
saw
beyond.
the petitions all over
Yeah, then
town.
that's why it's
The
here.
year before, we said no. We voted no.
Well, it's gonna be
Here
brought
before
up.
we approved it. And that's where it
Exactly,
came
but
from.
they put it there because.
Last year, it was never just.
Yeah.
Just a-
Yeah.
So what's the bottom
No,
line
it's the other way. I mean,
now?
There's your bottom line. There's each of the departments and everything, and here's
we
what your increase is.
Well, we brought it down.
What's the 6.83 above?
That's just
I can't
the
read that number.
increase on that section.
On the general fund there?
Yep. See, it's here.
So let me see that again. So,
I can't read that final number.
2,313,000.
yeah,
839.46 for.
Yeah, the one on your sheet's gonna be wrong because I forgot to I hadn't taken out the 80 some odd or 90 some odd $1,000 for the reappraisal.
And the percentage was what?
It's
5.67.
5.67.
currently.
Nice.
And
Yep.
you might investigate some of these and find that we have.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You want to
My
see it
numbers
with-
are really sloppy.
It potentially will be less.
Do you want to see what it looks like with any different wage? increases in there?
39,
Because it'll
46.
automatically update.
No, but if
No.
somebody sends it to me,
Yeah, I don't.
we're gonna
think
get an
so.
electronic
There's no-
copy of that, right?
There's no sense
Yeah,
in.
we can say.
doing
Yeah,
that
that would
until
be great.
This was good, though. Thank you. Okay,
Okay, so.
Are we at here?
Pay orders. Oh. The bridge? The bridge. But I mean, can we talk? I
Sure,
know.
we can talk it now.
Can we
Yeah.
talk about it while we're doing this? Or?
I just want an update on the bridge.
Right.
So I've had a couple people ask me about the 10 Mile Square.
Yeah.
You know, we had discussed, you know, are we doing
Yeah.
a temporary thing? Where,
So I got the language from Eric Pope. That's something that's required that FEMA wants, particular language that we use. Eric Pope kind of regional. V-Trans guy up here, he's kind of regional guy that we interact with on a regular basis. My next conversation with him is going to be, if it's not this week, it's going to be the beginning of January. Okay, now we've got the language for the bid. Can you kind of help us be our little RPR, if you will, which is a resident project manager, if you will, and he's going to help with our bid as best he
But
can.
we're not putting in the temporary.
No,
Yeah.
well, that, I get, yeah, no. So what is, I guess what people are wondering is, what is the solution? Not necessarily the RPR and all that. What are we leaning towards?
We're gonna do a
bridge.
permanent bridge
Permanent
when
bridge.
we get that.
Okay, but
Yes.
the road is still jacked up.
Yep.
And I thought we talked about filling it in. Not a temporary bridge, but filling it in so that we can. I thought that was.
Andy talked about putting a squash culvert in there.
No, separate
we're
from
going
that.
for that.
Yeah, it was just filling it in.
That bridge, when it collapsed, still has the capacity for water, and it is doing so at this time. The water's passing under it.
Right.
And what we talked about, what you're referring to, Pierre, was that we were going to fill that in. It was okay with the environmentalists.
Pope, I thought.
Yeah, and then we were just gonna narrow it to just a one way
Right.
through it, but a passage to get through there. And we could have done that just for backfill and Jersey barriers.
I thought,
I thought Andy was looking into if we could do that and he was gonna come back to us.
Yeah.
well, doesn't,
There's still a gap there. We can't fill it in.
Yeah, that-
Water flows through.
That's right.
you still have to have your engineer, you still have to go through the
Yeah,
bid.
we
you still have
can't.
to- Yes.
Right, so I think something more, a little more, not permanent, but structurally, is put Jersey barriers on both sides of that. where
And
the
close
bridge
it
used to
off.
be, and close it off. That way we're not liable for anybody
Yeah,
falling over it.
I think any
Well,
money
I think
spent to
we
put
were-
a temporary solution to get
And I
traffic
think-
through
No,
is not worth it.
no.
I think that we had talked about Jersey barriers to,
bucket.
Block it.
to Andy because people were complaining. But
We can do that on either side. If that's what you guys, that's what you want. We can do that.
You need a motion to.
Either,
spend the
either,
funds to do
so
that?
a Jersey barrier is gonna cost, they're rented, correct?
We can.
You rent Jersey barriers?
Oh, yeah, sometimes it's cheaper to buy them.
Are you talking concrete or water fillable?
I say, the other option is to take a bucket loader of dirt and
I mean,
They're gonna
that's kind of what we've done.
a lot of the time, I mean, if it is a solid wall of dirt and you're not going over it, that's a lot of the time, it's a lot cheaper.
That is true.
And it's very clear that it eliminates liability. It's cheaper than Jersey barriers.
We do have our signs up.
the signs-
Yeah, the signs aren't working, but
Well, I think because we have signs on our side, but
Charleston
doesn't have
does at the end of like theirs is all the way at the road.
it. Okay,
What we need is more signs at the close to it that says through traffic can't go. Warning, road closed ahead.
Dead end,
Yeah, close to our end,
bridge out.
not
I mean,
all the way
that-
out
that
on.
would Be very clear, right?
Yeah, dead end, bridge out.
right.
just don't want to be liable for it. But then we need the long-term solution too, to figure out.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, then that's what,
Okay,
So
Okay.
the next step is to have that conversation with Eric Pope, and he's gonna kind of, since he does projects like this up here in this area, he's gonna kind of walk us through how this has to happen and what FEMA's going to do. Which is really nice to have that guidance.
Okay, so
So no
Did-
Jersey barriers, but we're talking sign.
right.
Is that
solid
Dirt berms,
lump of dirt.
dirt berm, yeah.
That's a much better term than a lump of dirt.
Confirm, supposed to be doing this one.
Then I ask, because some people
I need some,
concentrate.
I brought snacks today.
Can't have,
That's my bedtime already.
you know, it's you do two things at once.
Everybody says-
You have ADD and you can do that. If you don't have
Get up
ADD,
and-
then you're stuck with doing one thing at a time.
I should have brought my snacks, should have
I
brought a
have
drink,
ADD, and I love it.
and should have brought my pain pill that was due an hour and a half ago. Yeah,
Yours.
is there a, like paper water cup up here or something?
Yeah.
Oh, somebody want to take a ride away. Sit.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hi, Annie. Hey, Jamie.
Bye, Annie.
Bye,
Bye, Jamie.
Take care. Take care. You have a good evening.
You guys have.
Oh, you also.
Hey, yeah, you
too. Forget about the holidays.
Christmas.
Humbug. One for the grandchildren.
Oh, that's where I'm going.
Oh, good. We'll have a good trip.
Oh, speaking of grandkids, just walking out. So Santa Claus called our oldest granddaughter, Christiana, and Marley.
Oh, when you were, yeah.
Called them Sunday after the lighting. Then this past Sunday, I called the other youngest granddaughter in Arizona. So that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun. And that Saturday, the tree lighting Santa Claus thing, that was a blast.
You guys did such a good job.
We want to do it again.
Yeah.
Um,
Have a nice picture. You look like authentic as hell.
Yeah, I know. Well, the youngest granddaughter, well, they're both 4, but the week prior, they were all in Arizona and they went up by the Grand Canyon and got on the Polar Express. They met Santa Claus on Polar Express.
Cool.
And Ember, I says, I remember seeing you on the train last week. She went, yeah, and you want, and what did you say? You wanted a rainbow cat, meaning rainbow kitty? So, yeah, that was fun. Okay, Heather, I forgot to bring the Santa Claus suits.
I can't leave them and carry them into the
Oh,
basement
no,
anyway right
no,
now.
okay.
Do you think we can approve the minutes while you guys are signing that, or
Ow.
have you read the minutes, Greg?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I'm good
Are
with
you
it.
guys good
Okay.
with me? I'm gonna take off.
Yep.
I have no
Thank you,
place to
Mike.
go.
Thanks. a
All
lot.
right.
Yeah.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joel. Bye.
Yeah.
Have a good Christmas if I don't see you.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
So I make a motion to approve the minutes, as reported.
Second it.
Okay.
Mike seconds.
All in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Okay, now we need a motion to go into executive for personnel.
I motion that we go into executive session to discuss personnel.
Yeah, second the motion.
And with,
With
With the
who?
town manager.
with the town manager?
Yeah.
Okay,
And the board?
Yeah.
You're not gonna excuse the board?
yeah, yes, that would be fun. Or me anyways.
I'll say I'm in favor. I.
Supporting.
Hmm,
We've already moved through the stuff.
we approved. the minutes.
We are going to executive session at